unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyrighted work is illegal. Criminal copyright infringement is investigated by federal law enforcement agencies and is punishable by up to 5 years in federal prison and a fine of $250,000.
Joanna's used to getting what she wants and controlling people, but she cannot control me. She has no power over me, and I'll stop at nothing to get that belt.
Tonight, definitely, I will break roast Namajunas, and you are going to hear and still.
I'm willing to go to the depths of hell to get my belt back, and Cody's not. I'm going to push the pace so hard that he's not going to be able to hang. He's going to hand that belt over to me.
TJ doesn't deserve to be in the octagon longer than he needs to be with me, and I'm going to go out there and finish this fight quickly.
I'm gonna beat Michael Bisping because I'm better, faster, stronger, more athletic, better IQ than him, and it's gonna be my night.
This is a chance for me to cement my legacy as one of the best ever. I've beaten Anderson Silva, I've beaten Dan Henderson, I knocked out Luke Rockhold. Now I get to beat Georges St Pierre, another legend, and cement myself as one of the greatest fighters that ever lived.
Ah, yes, the MMA leader has once again descended upon the city that never sleeps. For the 6th time in the last 12 months, we are in the great state of New York. And tonight, the world's most famous arena plays host to one of the deepest cards in UFC history. Live inside Madison Square Garden in New York, USA, this is UFC 217, Bisping versus GSP. Presented by Budweiser, this Bud's for you. Closed captioning for tonight's telecast is brought to you by the Netflix film Bright, starring Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. Watch it on Netflix December 22nd. Tonight's broadcast is also available in Spanish, brought to you by UFCEspanol.com. What an atmosphere inside MSG tonight. And with that, I'm John Anik. Welcome to UFC 217. He left the sport as the UFC welterweight champion on top, if not on top of his game, but Georges St Pierre was very careful to not use the word retirement. 4 years have passed. In that time, Michael Bisping has become the UFC's all-time wins leader and the UFC's middleweight champion. Bisping believes tonight, if he can turn back a returning Georges St Pierre, he will stamp himself one of the greatest to ever do it. Thrilled to welcome in my broadcast partners tonight, couple of legends, Joe Rogan, UFC light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier, and Michael Bisping tonight is trying to take out a legend in Georges St Pierre. And you talk to the Bisping camp, DC, they are as confident as ever that they can get the job done here tonight.
They're confident because they know what they have. People don't understand why Michael Bisping's the middleweight champion, because he's the best fighter in the world in this division. They underestimate this man. They don't think he's that good. He said if Yoel Romero, Luke Rockhold, or a number of other guys with the champ GSP would have been fighting Tyron Woodley tonight, they think he's an easy matchup. He said he is going to dominate and expose Georges St Pierre tonight. Look out for the left hook. Left hook Larry is in the building, and he said GSP's going to sleep.
Look, we have a lot of questions about GSP. It's been a long time since we've seen him inside the octagon, but what we knew about him before he left is he is the greatest welterweight of all time. A dynamic martial artist with a full range of skills, one of the most well-rounded guys ever in the game. Beautiful submissions, outstanding striking, and just beat a who's who in the welterweight division. But this isn't welterweight, this is middleweight. It's been a long time out, and he's fighting a guy that's been very active against top-level fighters like Luke Rockhold, like Anderson Silva, like Dan Henderson. I mean, a very active Michael Bisping and a man who is right now the champion.
And Georges St Pierre has certainly taken all the pre-fight banter in stride, Joe, but you got to think he's going to have a lot of different emotions as he makes this walk here in a few short
I don't
hours.
even think he knows how his mind is going to feel until he's inside that octagon.
Yeah.
There's so much going to be going through his head when that door locks, like, did I really want to do this?
Right,
is this really what? I was away for a long time. Only George knows, but he says that he is better than ever before, and he says that he spent the entire time out training.
All right, co-main event tonight for the UFC Bantamweight Championship. This is a fight that has it all. First title defense for Cody Garbrandt against the former champion TJ Dillashaw. And Joe, Cody No Love believes his power is going to be the difference here tonight.
And Cody No Love has spectacular punching power. I mean, he has a full range of skills, but his big thing is his accuracy, laser beam accuracy, brutal one-punch knockout power, and that may be the thing that separates the two of them. But you're talking about two guys that have trained together extensively, and to add salt to the wound, Cody Garbrandt yesterday released video of him knocking down TJ in practice. Now, he said it was a knockout, but to TJ's defense, he wasn't out. He went down, his arm caught him, but he got cracked.
You want to make him mad? You want to make Dillashaw mad? You release that video, and Dillashaw, Killashaw, TJ Dillashaw is a savage. This guy is some of the best striking in the UFC. He doesn't believe for a second that he can't beat Cody Garbrandt. He thought he won the fight against Dominic Cruz, so this fight should have happened a long time ago. It didn't. So tonight, TJ Dillashaw says, I'm going back to get the title that I never lost. So TJ Dillashaw going to stick at the Team Alpha Male along with Cody Garbrandt.
And this bad blood is about as real as it gets. We know DC and John Jones buried the hatchet a few months ago. I'm not sure there's any warm embrace after this fight tonight. I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out, but this is one of the most high-level bantamweight matchups in the history of the sport. This is a huge, huge fight between two of the top three greatest bantamweights of all time, Dominic Cruz being the other one.
All right, and rounding out this championship triple header from Madison Square Garden, the first fight you will see tonight on pay-per-view, at least in terms of the title fights. All eyes on Joanna Jedrejczyk as she tries to remain undefeated, tie Ronda Rousey's title defense record against the Rose Namajunas.
When she was talking to Rose at the weigh-in, I got nervous. I was scared when she was saying, the boogie woman's coming to get you. I legitimately felt fear in my heart. I was so happy she's not coming to get me. She's ferocious, she's relentless, and she's only hungrier. She's not satisfied in any way, shape, or form. She wants to be the greatest of all time.
You know who doesn't worry about the boogie woman at night? You know who sleeps comfortably in her pillow in Colorado? It's Thug Rose. She gave her nothing. She stared right through her soul with those eyes that she has, showing Joanna Jedrejczyk nothing. And you know why? Because the time is right for Rose Namajunas to be in this spot. Early in her career, she fought for the belt. She wasn't ready. She is ready to dethrone Joanna Jedrejczyk and become one of the greatest fighters of all time.
And here's the scary thing about it. As Joanna's yelling at her and telling her she's going to kill her, Rose is reciting the Lord's Prayer in a monotone voice with dead eyes. It was horrifying.
It is terrifying looking at the devil saying a prayer if you're Rose Namajunas.
Well, and if you were looking for Rose Namajunas to crack, it hasn't happened yet. We'll see how it goes when they close the octagon door behind those two talented women later tonight. So many great matchups coming up. The rest of the card is brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Powered by Real Player Motion Tech, EA Sports UFC 3 delivers the most authentic UFC experience ever in a video game. Pre-order now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Former two-time UFC welterweight title challenger Stephen Wonderboy Thompson nearly wrested the belt away from Tyron Woodley in this very building last November. Tonight, another high-profile spot for the South Carolina native against the highly respected contender Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, a 45-fight veteran who is showing off some of the best form of his career as he chases down his first UFC title shot. But coming up next to kick off the main card, former UFC welterweight champion Johny Hendricks now plies his trade at middleweight. It'll be his 5th start in the last 15 months tonight, as Big Rig draws the oncoming force that is Paulo Costa, an undefeated Brazilian and devastating striker who might not just be the future, but the present as well. All right, let's get you the rules of the Octagon. 3 judges score the bout. The bout duration is 3 5-minute rounds for championship fights and all UFC main events. We go 5 5-minute rounds. A 10-point must-scoring system is in effect. The round winner gets 10 points, his or her opponent 9 or fewer, and scoring is based on effective striking and grappling, followed by aggression, and then Octagon control in that order. Also wanted to let you know the New York State Athletic Commission has adopted the new unified rules for 2017. Those handful of changes are in effect here tonight. The fighters have been made aware. We also have the limited use of replay tonight if a referee isn't sure what happened at the end of a fight. But once replay is invoked, the fight cannot be restarted. We will see if that comes into play in the next few hours. UFC 217 is brought to you in high definition by the Netflix film Bright, starring Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. Watch it on Netflix December 22nd. All right, with that, just about ready to go with live action from Madison Square Garden. Great to have you with us tonight on pay-per-view. Power hitter Paulo Costa has been racking up the knockouts dating to his pro debut, but if he can turn back former UFC champion Johny Hendricks tonight, we may be witnessing the birth of a new Brazilian star. Undefeated Brazilian phenom Paulo Costa appears to have all the tools to become not just a world champion, but a UFC superstar. But tonight, he'll have to prove he is ready for the requisite next step. He faces a man who knows what it's like to wear that gold belt, Johny Hendricks.
Eu acho que ele não me conhece muito bem. Ele vai ver lá dentro o que eu posso fazer e vai ver que foi uma má escolha aceitar essa luta.
I don't really care who he is or what he's done. I know what I can do, and that's half the battle, is believing in yourself.
Minas Gerais' Paulo Costa crashed his way into the consciousness of UFC fans in 2017 with back-to-back knockouts of Gareth McClellan and Oluwale Bamboche. Tonight, he'll attempt to nail down the biggest win of his career against Johny Hendricks.
Na luta, vou fazer, como sempre, buscar andar para frente, encurralar ele e buscar um nocaute a todo momento, desde o início da luta até o final.
A former UFC welterweight champion, Johny Hendricks' legacy as one of the best 170-pounders of this era is secure. But Big Rig is hungry for another belt at middleweight. And as he prepares to step into the Octagon in New York City for the first time, he is hungrier than ever to produce a career-defining performance.
Fighting Paulo tonight, I'm super excited. For one, it's in Madison Square Garden. You know, that's always been a dream of mine to fight here, and I can't wait to perform.
All right, so here's Paulo Costa. So just when DC learns how to pronounce Borrachinha, Paulo goes to the surname Costa. Here he is, the eraser tonight, a -325 favorite as he tries to move to 11-0 against Johny Hendricks.
Yeah, this guy is so much bigger than Johny Hendricks at the weigh-in. You look at the two of them together and you go, yeah, Johnny's a welterweight, and this guy is almost a light heavyweight. You're talking about the upper end of middleweight versus really the lower end, and a guy who wasn't even a tall guy as a welterweight champion. the real question is whether or not Johny Hendricks is a middleweight because of a lack of discipline, or whether he's a middleweight because his body performs better at a higher weight. That is up for debate. What's not up for debate is how scary this challenge is in front of him right now. Look at that dude. That's a scary man. This is a knockout artist who throws bombs. He's an enormous, terrifying, fast middleweight. He is undefeated, and he is one of the hottest young prospects out of Brazil.
You know what's scary is when you mispronounce this kid's name on UFC Tonight, and then you get a video from his coach, and he tells you, don't even say Borrachinha. Call me the eraser now. Yeah. Because I'm going to New York City to erase Johnny Hendricks. That's scary. And then you watch him perform, and you watch Olawale Bomache throw everything but the kitchen sink at him because he's terrifying. And you watch him finish guys so quick and in such dominant fashion at such a young age. You know, we're always kind of looking for the next Brazilian star. Right. And this guy has all the prerequisites for it. He's got the look, he's got the skill, he's got the country support behind him. Paulo Costa is the real deal, and a big, strong, scary individual with skills to match.
And this is his United States debut. He is learning English, and he keeps saying, I want to put on a show for the American fans. He kept making that a point of emphasis. Longest pro fight for Costa, 6 minutes and 6 seconds, his last time out against the aforementioned Olawale Bamboche. All right, DC, here he is, the former UFC welterweight champion, Johny Hendricks, making the walk tonight for his 21st UFC start.
You know, today the good guys took a loss in Benton, the Cowboys, but I know the greatest wrestler of all time, John Smith, and the Cowboy wrestling team are in Stillwater right now. They're all surrounded around the TV to watch one of the greatest wrestlers of all time from Oklahoma State, Johny Hendricks, go to the octagon. This young man has always been a gamer. You watch him in practice, and sometimes you didn't get the best. But when the lights were the brightest, Johny Hendricks shined the brightest. Man, this is a former champion. He said Borrachinha has no idea what he's in for because he's never seen this level. Now, I do believe that this is an uphill battle for him. But if I have confidence in anyone to get the job done in the face of severe adversity, it's Big Rig.
Well, I like the alterations that he's made in his camp. He switched to Jackson's in Albuquerque, Mike Winklejohn and Greg Jackson and that fantastic group. And he was saying that when he was in Texas, he just couldn't get good training. He left Team Takedown and he really didn't have a stable home. And he said he found that in Albuquerque. And hopefully that's going to make a big impact on him.
And he could not have been more appreciative of that entire team. Jackson Wink MMA didn't even want to single anyone out. He walked in, Joe, said, I just like the way they run their practices. And he believes, even though he didn't get to spend as much time there as he would have liked, I think only 14 days was the longest at any one time. He said, going forward, when I get full training camps at Jackson Wink, you are going to see a different, better version of Johny Hendricks. Here he is, two-time Division I national champion wrestler, four-time D1 All-American, and former UFC welterweight champion Johny Hendricks. Last finish inside the octagon when he sent Martin Kampmann flying across the cage at UFC 154. That was 4 years ago. We'll see if Hendricks can get back to his finishing knockout ways here tonight against the upstart Paulo Costa. Detail the Tape is brought to you by Wish, the secret to affordable shopping. Johny Hendricks now 34. Paulo Costa is 26. Costa, the much taller party. Both men weighed in 186 pounds. Costa will have a 3-inch reach advantage. All right, now for the official introductions to kick off the pay-per-view, we go inside the octagon where we find Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden in New York, New York, for UFC 217, Bisping versus GSP, presented by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC Middleweight Division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a striker holding an undefeated professional record, 10 wins, no losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 186 pounds. Fighting out of Carthage, Minas Gerais, Brazil, Paulo introducing his opponent. Fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 18 wins, 7 losses. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 186 pounds. Fighting out of Fort Worth, Texas, presenting the former UFC welterweight champion, Johnny Big Rig Hendricks. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Big John McCarthy.
John McCarthy, third man in the octagon for this one. The lovely Brittany Palmer with us tonight for UFC 217, Bisping versus GSP. Ariane, Vanessa, Chrissy, Brooklyn, 5 wide tonight as we kick off the pay-per-view. Johnny Big Rig Hendricks taking on Paulo Costa. Hendricks in blue, Costa is in blue.
They look like they're separated by 2 weight classes.
If you're Hendricks, what you cannot do is go along the side of the octagon, because once his kid traps you, he just really lets all of his strikes go.
Oh,
big body kick.
Body. You don't want any of those. And he's already flinching.
Johnny cannot start backing up if he's going to be successful against Costa. He needs to start trying to secure a takedown now. Costa's doing a really good job of digging those body kicks.
He's visibly wincing when those kicks land, and that's not good. And now he's going up high. Johnny's got to close the distance. He's got to get a hold of this kid. He cannot be fighting him on the outside like this, especially eating those kicks to the body and to the arms.
Costa spent some time in Arizona with Eric Albarracin working on his wrestling, but he says largely he keeps the focus on him. We'll see if that takedown defense gets tested tonight.
That body kick is so successful because he is controlling the range. Look at the feet. The left foot of Costa is always on the outside, so when he steps off center to try to throw that body kick, Johnny can't counter with his left hand.
And he can't go anywhere but into the kick. He's catching him on the end of these shots. Oh.
Smart by Hendricks, getting into the clinch there.
Smart, but he ran right into that
Right into a good knee, yeah, by Costa. I mean, this Costa kid has all types of skills.
He does, and he's also shown good composure. He's patient. He knows this is a big name, and he wants to win in a spectacular way.
Ooh. Spinning attack from Costa. Partially good. Hendricks. Oh, nice body shot from Paulo.
You know, the one thing that you haven't seen with Costa is anyone make him respect him. You haven't seen guys actually take respect from Costa so far in his UFC career. You've got to make him respect you.
The Walking Dead new episodes every Sunday, 9/8 Central, only on AMC.
This is a problem for Hendricks. You cannot be along the side of the octagon with this guy.
He also doesn't seem to have an answer to the offense. Costa's moving towards him, slamming shots into him, and he's not countering. The counters that he's throwing are all falling short. His timing is off. His distance is not good. And Costa's walking him down.
That's what you see in Costa's fights. He's usually the guy that takes the center of the octagon and starts to try to damage you.
Big knee from Costa and splits the guard with that right hand. Just over 2 minutes now to go in round 1.
You've got to love the forward pressure of Costa. And he's not forward on the line, right? He's moving his head. He's faking and feinting. He's not just headhunting. He's mixing up his strikes.
Yeah, he's looking very seasoned for a young guy with not a whole lot of fights. Johnny's firing back.
There you go. Johnny now throws his first combination.
Threw a good leg kick.
Well, Johnny has been there and done that, about as UFC tested as it gets. So
nice knee to the body.
And that's where you see Johnny really struggle with the size difference. It's in the wrestling situations. Those level changes on welterweights, he was taking those guys down. Having more trouble doing that against middleweights.
High kick lands for Costa. Hendricks counters. Window here for Johnny.
Johnny Hendricks is a gamer.
Yes, he is. Johnny Hendricks will stand and fight anybody.
Total strikes, advantage Costa. Doubling up Johnny Hendricks through about 4 minutes. Costa had 2 fights on season 3 of The Ultimate Fighter in Brazil, said my skills got me on the show, but my lack of experience got me off the show. Still undefeated as a pro.
Nice body shot.
Yep. 40 seconds now to go in the round.
Oh, Johnny with a couple left hands.
There you go.
Right kick.
But the first hurdle's crossed, right? If you're Johny Hendricks, first hurdle's crossed. You've absorbed the big damage early in the round. And now the fight's starting to get long. And you see Hendricks starting to land shots. Another big knee by Costa.
Pretty good head movement from Hendricks.
He got clipped.
Yep, that left hook there.
Yeah, the left. Oh!
That'll leave him on.
Hold on.
That's some big wrestling.
Listen, you usually start off strong, so you weather the storm here. Be smart, be alert. You're doing the right thing by moving your head. When you feel the warning track, I need you to circle out though. He's only scoring when you get close to the warning track. Breathe.
Your left hand hits me, you double up on it, all right? Time is perfect, stepping towards you.
Soltar pouco mais e começar a trabalhar essa mão
You
da
gotta feint a
frente.
little bit
Vamos
more,
evitar
you
esse
know,
chute.
work your
Vamos
front hand.
trabalhar essa mão.
Let's work the
Combina
kicks,
agora.
let's work the
Jab
hands,
no
let's
corpo,
do
jab
more
no corpo,
combinations.
direto com o cruzado.
Jab to the body
Combina os
and
dois
upper in the
braços.
hand.
Beleza?
You know, let's just do
Ok?
more combinations.
Os dois
Let's keep it
braços.
more
Ele já
active.
sentiu sua mão.
He
Tá
already felt your
respeitando a
hand.
mão.
He
Você
respects
agora
your hand.
golpeia mais
So let's go after him and make him respect.
Não quero golpe isolado. Valeu? Entrar agora, Paulo. Ele vai entrar.
Fazer a finta, Borrachinha.
Head out to your neighborhood 7-Eleven and get a UFC branded Big Gulp for a chance to instantly win prizes. Weird visual seeing Mike Winkeljohn on that Johny Hendricks.
Yeah, but you see Johnny still taking it very serious
Ready?
as he's longer in his career. Now for guys that carry all the muscle, like Costa, you start to worry about if all that muscle starts to fatigue as the fight goes long. So in the corner, Hendricks, they were happy. They said, double up the left hand. You've taken the initial rush.
Time. Get over there. Come here. Come here. Saw his finger went out. It's all right.
So
Take your time and clear your eye.
there. Let's take a look at it if we can find it.
Okay. I don't want to stop.
He says he doesn't want him to
Good?
rest. Yeah.
You sure?
Interesting. Johnny said he doesn't want him to rest.
Right.
Watch when you push off his face.
He senses Costa starting to slow down.
Yeah, maybe the power doesn't feel as severe.
Yeah, thumb.
Another thing to take into consideration is the fact that Costa's probably cutting a significant amount of weight, which has always been a real problem for Johnny.
Yes.
And as we mentioned, this is coming up on Paulo Costa's longest pro fight. Johny Hendricks, of course, has gone the 25-minute championship distance several times in the UFC.
Oh, he's flipping the right hand.
He just heard him with that hook. Yep.
Walk to attack.
Hendricks in trouble. Circling out.
Oh, beautiful timing of that right hand. Clipped him again. He is hitting him with bombs. And
the chin of Johny Hendricks.
In the heart of Hendricks.
Yes, the heart of Hendricks.
Yeah, last thing Johnny's looking for is a way out, hanging tough.
Oh, and he went high.
And this is now the longest pro fight of Paulo Costa's career. Might end here shortly.
But Johnny's still firing back.
But look at Costa, the young guy, not just headhunting here, going to the body.
Oh, that's it.
Wow! Paulo Costa does it again. Johny Hendricks' latest victory.
Wow.
And this is a force to be reckoned with. You got to think this guy is surfacing on the middleweight radar after that performance here tonight.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I was really impressed with the heart of Johny Hendricks.
Yeah.
He was facing a guy who's younger, bigger, stronger, a guy who was hurting him badly, and he kept swinging. He didn't look for a way out. He got taken out. And for Costa, I mean, big win for him, big name on the resume, and a big statement for all the other people in the middleweight division. This young man's for real.
Yeah, this kid's coming, man. I'm telling you, this dude is powerful. He's got all the skill. Big win for Costa.
And he's only 26.
26 years old, new blood in the middleweight division.
Undefeated, now 11-0. And let's take a look at what got him number 11.
Quickly, this fight replay brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
And Johnny's in big, big trouble here. This is towards the end of the fight. Mixes it up. Caught him with some hard shots to the head. There you see him going high with that. Catches him with the left hand. Just all heart by Johny Hendricks, trying to hang in there, trying to weather the storm. Boom, look at that right hand he clipped him with. And beautiful timing on that punch too.
Just the fact that this kid didn't just go head hunting whenever he had Hendricks hurt tells you a lot about the maturity of Costa at such a young age to know to go to the body instead of just fishing for the head.
All right, let's take a look back at some of the stats. This fight summary brought to you by The Walking Dead. New episodes every Sunday at 9/8 Central, only on AMC in DC. The head strikes were there. He does not discriminate, though. Body strikes, 24 landed for Paulo Costa. Hendricks had it going with the leg strikes, but not enough to bounce Costa from the ranks of the unbeaten. All right, the official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Big John McCarthy has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 23 seconds of round number 2. Declaring the winner by TKO, Paulo the Eraser Costa.
All right, I'm here with the Eraser, Paulo Costa. First of all, congratulations on a spectacular victory. And a victory over a former world champion, the biggest fight so far on your now 11-0 resume.
Yeah, of course.
Give us your thoughts on the fight.
What's up, New York? First time, I'm very glad to be here in this place, the biggest place of the martial arts in the world. So, thank you, Johny Hendricks. Johny Hendricks have a great heart. He a true wild heart because he accept fight against me and coming here tonight to fight. So I'm very grateful for Johny Hendricks for coming here. Thank you, John. And I come here to show to the world who I am. In Brazil, Joey, we have many legends of this sport, but now is a new time. I'm representing the new generation from Brazil, and I will be the next legend from Brazil in UFC.
Well, you made a big statement tonight, sir. And take a look at the big screen. You caught him with some big shots. Were you surprised at how much punishment he was able to endure?
Yes, Johny Hendricks is a tough guy. He is a UFC former champion. So he has many experience, and he's a tough guy. It's not easy fight against former champion.
Well, all eyes are on you now, sir. Congratulations on a huge win.
Yes. A message for Brasil now. Obrigado, Brasil. Eu luto por vocês. Vocês têm um representante forte aqui dentro. Prefeitura de Contagem, muito obrigado. Um abraço para toda a minha família, para o meu amigo Jair Bolsomito e Derek Bronson. I want to fight against you, Derek Bronson.
Paulo Costa, ladies and gentlemen.
How about Paulo Costa? And you can see he has embraced learning the English language as much as he has worked on his MMA game. Scary proposition, I would think, for the rest of this 185-pound division after a big victory over Hendricks here tonight. Tonight's champions in the crowd, brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. There he is, the UFC interim middleweight champion, Robert Whittaker. And how about it, the UFC flyweight king, the consensus greatest of all time, Demetrious Johnson. UFC 217, Bisping versus GSP is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By your neighborhood 7-Eleven. Get a UFC-branded Big Gulp for a chance to instantly win prizes. By EA Sports UFC 3. Powered by Real Player Motion Tech, EA Sports UFC 3 delivers the most authentic UFC experience ever in a video game. Pre-order now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. and by the Netflix film Bright, starring Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. Watch it on Netflix December 22nd. The main event fighter arrivals are brought to you by Harley-Davidson. See your dealer today and learn to ride like some of your favorite UFC fighters with Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. Live your legend. And there he is, the unflappable UFC middleweight champion, Michael Bisping. This is one of the toughest professional athletes on the planet. More UFC wins than any fighter in company history, but of course few wins would be bigger than the one he is chasing here tonight. Of course, because the former UFC welterweight champion and UFC legend Georges St Pierre is back. He stepped away in 2013, and now nearly 4 years to the day of his last fight, GSP returns and looks to join the short list of UFC fighters to win a title in multiple divisions.
Dude, this is our town, Gian Vellante. This is our city.
I'd never actually had batting practice with a professional team.
So myself and the Heartthrob, we went over to meet the Rockettes.
I was thinking of what do you put on Matt Serra's birthday cake?
Our pizza tour guide was this guy, Scott.
He carries around a thermometer in his pocket. You got to get a wedgie for that.
We were expecting an all-out war. What we got was way better.
Can't get used to seeing Dana White in a New York Mets jersey. The new episode of Dana White Looking for a Fight available tomorrow morning, free on YouTube. Don't miss it as Dana, Matt, and John Vellante hit New York in search of UFC talent. New episode, Dana White Looking for a Fight, available tomorrow on YouTube. All right, next to the octagon here at Madison Square Garden will be two of the top welterweights in the world. Let's show you exactly how the top of this division stacks up at present, at least according to the rankings, UFC.com. So Stephen Thompson entrenched at number 2, Jorge Masvidal at 4. So DC Wonderboy has had 2 cracks at the belt. Masvidal still in search of that elusive first title shot.
Yeah, man, this division's sorting itself out as Tyron Woodley has become a dominant champion in the weight class. Masvidal, with a big win tonight, can put himself in position to maybe challenge for this belt. Very interesting time for the UFC's welterweight division right now.
And Joe Garbrandt obviously has been on the cusp before. He was ranked number 6 before the Maia fight. Now number 4. Win tonight could position him nicely.
Yeah, the Maia fight was a little bit of a setback for him, but Maia's just a handful for anybody once he gets a hold of you. Colby Covington obviously made a big statement this week, beating Maia. And Rafael Dos Anjos has looked spectacular since moving up to 170 pounds. Darren Till just entered into a lot of people's consciousness by that stunning first-round knockout of Cowboy Cerrone. Keep an eye on him, but the bottom line is you got a talent-stacked 170-pound division, including former champion Robbie Lawler.
And both of these fighters thought this fight made sense. The matchmakers agreed. Jorge Masvidal has made a career of taking on all challenges. Tonight, Garbrandt continues his pursuit of gold against another one of the best strikers in the game, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. 2 of the top welterweights in the world square off in New York City tonight as Stephen Wonderboy Thompson looks to propel himself back into a title fight by beating the equally ambitious Jorge Garbrandt Masvidal.
This is my night. I'm going to beat Jorge Masvidal. I deserve to be that number 1. I deserve that title shot, and everybody's going to know it at the end of this fight.
I'm out to dismantle Stephen. For him to no longer be, he's in my way of me eating, my kids eating. There's no going around it. I have to destroy this man.
No stranger to Madison Square Garden, top-ranked contender Stephen Thompson fought current welterweight champion Tyron Woodley to a fight-of-the-night draw in this very building last November. Now following a decision loss to Woodley in their UFC 209 rematch, Thompson returns and will try to make his compelling case for a 3rd title shot when he faces Masvidal.
It's a big opportunity for me tonight to show the fans that I deserve that title shot, that I am the number 1 contender.
Florida's Jorge Masvidal is an old-school warrior whose fighting spirit has won him the respect of fans and his peers. But this versatile and no-nonsense contender is only concerned with winning and getting a crack at that elusive UFC gold. And after winning 3 of his last 4 bouts, including finishes of Jake Ellenberger and Donald Cerrone, Garbrandt is closing in quick.
Big deal to beat Stephen because this is the next step. This is the guy stopping me from competing for the belt, which is the most prized, coveted thing in my sport, the UFC belt.
All All right, so here he is, Jorge Masvidal, making the walk for his 45th professional fight. He's won 3 of his last 4, Joe. There is an argument to be made, though, that he could have won his last 8. He seems to perennially be on the wrong side of these split decisions. We'll see if Masvidal can keep the judges out of it tonight.
Well, I felt like the fight with Maia was a fair decision. Maia just kind of smothered him and did his thing. But maybe in a 5-round fight, he would have had a better opportunity. But what Masvidal is incredibly crafty. Just a real seasoned veteran, a guy that can do it all. He's got really great grappling, which is one of the most underrated aspects of his game. And it's one of the reasons why he can maintain such an upright posture. The question in my mind in this fight is whether or not he's going to be able to deal with the length and the kicks of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, because Thompson has an incredibly difficult style to handle. Tyron Woodley's been the guy who solved it the best. But Tyron did it with patience and power. You know, that if you make a mistake against Tyron, the consequences are so grave. And Tyron was remarkably patient, much to the chagrin of Dana White and a lot of people that wanted to see more action. But he did what he had to do to win. My question is, can Masvidal close the distance? Can't fight with the same amount of patience because he's only got 3 rounds. And can he get inside the range of those kicks? Because Wonderboy does a lot of wild stuff. A lot of front leg kicks you don't expect. Checks you with the side kick, front leg ground kicks. A lot of things you don't see coming. And sniper-like with his hands.
15th UFC appearance for Jorge Masvidal. He hasn't been finished in more than 8.5 years. We'll see if he can come up large as underdog tonight against Wonderboy Thompson. So here he is, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, former 2-time UFC welterweight title challenger, DC. This is a special striker, 5-time world champion kickboxer. Last 5 UFC fights have all been scheduled for 5 rounds. He's happy to have a 3-rounder tonight. We'll see maybe if there's an uptick in his aggression and he's less patient than he's been in previous fights.
Well, the pace of Wonderboy Thompson generally won't change because he's one of those traditional martial artists, right? He's not a guy that is out there being reckless at all. It's from that lifelong being in this competitive environment in terms of combat. Stephen Thompson is another one of those guys that started with a very traditional base and rounded out his game enough to actually compete at the highest levels of mixed martial arts. Is he the greatest wrestler? No, but he can wrestle enough to make you stand with him. And it does not take much. As you've seen in fights, Wonderboy can smack you with the top of his foot and put you out. Family tradition of competition, and Wonderboy, once again, is another massive fight in this welterweight division.
You're talking about a guy that Georges St Pierre says is the best striker he's ever trained with. You're talking about a guy that's 57-0 as a kickboxer, including 40 knockouts. One of the most sniper-like welterweights you are ever going to see in your life in terms of his ability to capitalize on brief openings. And again, that odd style of standing sideways, long stance. My question is whether or not Masvidal is going to employ similar tactics that he used to beat Darren Cruikshank, who's also a great traditional martial artist. With Cruikshank, he got tagged early in the fight and then turned it into a wrestling match and dominated that. But Wonderboy has spent a tremendous amount of time training with Chris Weidman.
Right.
And doing that, training with a lot of different wrestlers, has really tightened up his takedown defense. So overall, compelling matchup, very compelling.
Well, Thompson said it was a plus that Masvidal called him out because the fight made sense for him. And he said Masvidal's aggressive, sort of like another Rory McDonald, but a more Muay Thai stylist. He said Garbrandt has nothing special, but he has it all. All right, with that backdrop, the Tail of the Tape is brought to you by Wish, the secret to affordable shopping. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is 34. Garbrandt Masvidal 32. Thompson 1 inch taller. He weighed in 170.5 pounds, 171 for Masvidal. Thompson will have a 1 inch reach advantage. All right, now for the introductions. Back inside the octagon to Bruce Buck.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a boxer holding a professional record, 32 wins, 12 losses. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 171 pounds. Fighting out of Miami, Florida, presenting the number 4 ranked welterweight contender in the world, Jorge Masvidal. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a Mick Barcelonis holding a professional record, 13 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 170 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Simpsonville, South Carolina, presenting the number 2 ranked welterweight contender in the world, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Dan Mergliata.
Dan Mergliata, our referee. Stephen Thompson got a lot of support in New York as usual. Chrissy Blair is with us. Thank you, Chrissy. Round 1 of a possible 3. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, the -190 favorite tonight.
All right, you ready, sir? You ready, sir? Let's go, fight.
Against the +155 underdog Jorge Masvidal. Thompson in gray. Masvidal coming out orthodox. He's in black.
Masvidal refusing to tap. The tap of gloves at the beginning of the fight. And look at that weird stance of Wonderboy. Sideways, right in front of you, and Masvidal trying that front leg side kick to check the front leg of Wonderboy. I mean, that is a traditional karate stance, and Wonderboy is capable of doing a lot of very unorthodox things from that stance.
If you watch the fights with Tyron, Wonderboy was so patient that at times he gave rounds, because like you said, if you attack Tyron and he counters you, the consequences are so dire.
Yeah.
I want to see if he's going to be a little more aggressive in this fight with Masvidal, because the takedown threat is not as severe as it is with Tyron Woodley.
And the one-punch knockout threat is not as severe either.
Yes.
Tyron has just thunderous power.
Yes.
That's what's terrifying for anybody trying to close the distance.
But it showed every time, because when Tyron hit him, he would fall down. So Masvidal, Masvidal's a guy that's come up from 155, so maybe that threat's not there. But you've got to be very careful, because Masvidal is a very talented striker in his own right. Definitely boxing.
Definitely. Very accurate and extremely well-rounded. And that's what's weird. Those front leg side kicks that you just don't expect. And you don't expect someone to have the ability that he has. Like when he fakes to the body and goes up high like that. And he did that to Johny Hendricks. And you can see Hendricks getting very frustrated in that fight.
Yeah. Do you watch, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
Thompson, I was just going to say, has been a fast starter in the UFC. 4 of his 8 UFC wins by first-round knockout.
If you're Jorge Masvidal, you're keeping those hands high and you're trying to get closer. You're trying to close the distance a little bit, because you don't want to end up in a point fighting contest with Stephen Thompson.
And that's essentially what he's in right now. I mean, he's trying to close that distance, but look at the odd stance of Masvidal. He stands up so tall, but you can see a little hesitancy in the way he's throwing those kicks. He's very cautious of the counter.
Wonderboy's long been known as a guy that's good at counter striking.
Get a UFC branded Big Gulp for a chance to instantly win prizes.
The reason Masvidal can stand so tall, though, is because this guy has phenomenal wrestling defense and the ability to take you down if he needs to. So because he's so good at wrestling, training with Cody Covington, he isn't worried about getting taken down as freely, even though he's gone up in weight class.
Wonderboy tried to open up with that left high kick. And a good kick there to the leg by Masvidal. Needs some more of those. And there he got off one to the body.
You watch Masvidal kind of boxing and almost a tie stance with that light front leg.
Yes, and very much off the back foot. Oh, there's
a good body kick by Masvidal, yes.
Masvidal stays so technical. Actually, UFC, right hand over the top.
That's
how fast is Wonderboy?
The closing, the way he can close the distance.
Tyron Woodley has said in the past that Jorge Masvidal has the best boxing in the UFC.
That front leg side kick, that's what I'm talking about. Like, who throws it like that?
Now you see Masvidal get a little more aggressive, and I think when you do that, you play into Thompson's game, right? Yes. He frustrates you, you get aggressive, he starts looking for counter opportunities.
And there it goes. And Masvidal,
two beautiful leg kicks by Masvidal.
Yeah. And Masvidal needs more of that. Keeping the pressure on him like that because he's got good distance here. I like the leg kicks of Masvidal. I think that's going to be a good factor in this fight if he can slow down some of the movement.
Yes, you got to beat those legs up to slow the movement down. But you got to worry about the counter there. Wonderboy is throwing much harder tonight than he did last fight.
But again, it's because of the consequences. When you're throwing against Tyron Woodley, one shot can put you on the moon.
30 seconds to go here in round one. Thompson's lateral movement, just a thing of beauty.
Look at that straight left. And he's so comfortable from either stance. That's the crazy thing about Wonderboy. He can fight good as a southpaw, and he fights equally good orthodox, and he switches back and forth on you with ease, effortlessly. But when you see him throw off the front leg, he's almost always doing it from the southpaw stance with the right leg forward. His dominant leg is his right leg. He faces you in the beginning of the fight in particular with the right leg forward, and that's what you see. You see that front leg side kick. He throws it to the body, fakes it to the body, and goes up high. And there's a beautiful right hand. He catches you right at the end of those punches.
Okay, lean back.
Beautiful, baby, beautiful.
You got to put that 2 out there more. You got it. 2-3, 2-3, or 2 money. You understand?
All your double kicks are working.
Baja los niveles, baja los niveles. Vamos ahí. Vamos, 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 cojones. Tenemos la oportunidad de la vida. Vamos. Vamos a hacerlo. Vamos.
Yes, sir. You're not going to take them for your shot. One shot. One good
Las
shot.
patadas, las piernas están perfectas. Sí, continúa. Pero corta más la distancia todavía, meter las manos. Corta más la distancia.
Be sure to check out The Walking Dead new episodes every Sunday at 9/8 Central, only on AMC. All right, second round here. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Huge stakes at 170 pounds. You got to think the champ Woodley in the building tonight is watching this one closely. Thompson in white, Masvidal in black.
It's such a hard sell to get Thompson right back in there for the world title, even if he wins in spectacular fashion. With so much talent in this division and having come up short twice, he's got to make some giant statements. He's got to essentially, his back is against the wall. He's got to kind of clean out the division in order to really force another world title fight.
Yes.
Or there's got to be someone else at the title. I mean, Tyron would have to lose in order for it to make sense. Look at that.
That's smart by Masvidal to change it up there. Look, and allow him to get the side of the octagon and get some of his punches off. Just change it up a little bit if you're Jorge Masvidal.
Mike Brown to our right, liking what he's seeing here early round 2 from his pupil. But you're going to have to mix it up like that if you're Gamebred here tonight. It felt like distance management was the first key, but he had to mix the martial arts as well.
Wonderboy's hands are so low that when he's jabbing, again, it's coming. Oh!
Knockdown for Thompson.
Look at that sidestep to set up that right hand. That was ridiculous. That sidestep, right hand, yes, unbelievable by Wonderboy.
And you're seeing an intensity with Wonderboy here. I think after he got clipped by those punches in the corner, he's decided to ramp it up. He went with the blitz, tried to round kick the end of it.
Notice when Wonderboy is finishing his combinations, he's going on the line a little bit, but at the end of them, he switches the angle a little bit so that Masvidal can't counter him. Masvidal's going to have to go back to his shot to get back to his hands. He's got to switch it up a little bit because now Thompson's starting to gain momentum and gain confidence.
Thompson had knee surgery shortly after that second fight with Tyron Woodley. That was back in March in UFC 209. Under 3 minutes here to go in round 2. Head strikes advantage Thompson, outlanding Masvidal 12-3. Hard to recall the last time Masvidal was knocked down.
It was against Darren Cruikshank. It was early in the first round.
Yeah.
And that's one of the fights that I looked at when I was looking at this fight in terms of like what would be a similar matchup that Masvidal's faced. Because Cruikshank is also a very good traditional martial artist.
Right.
Oh, look at that side kick. Come on, son. Who throws stuff like that?
And it's off the same hand, right? So he's actually throwing these kicks off of right hands, which is very difficult.
Well, he switches stances as he's throwing the punch, and then he has his right leg forward, and he throws the kick. And he also will throw that kick if he misses a round kick. He'll create distance with that.
You know, Masvidal's having a lot of success with that outside low kick.
Oh!
He seems to be at a speed disadvantage against Thompson.
Well, it's a closing the distance speed, too. It's that wide stance allows Thompson, and all his years of point fighting and kickboxing and fighting at the style. If you've ever watched point fighting, it's kind of silly, but what's great about it is the ability to close the distance. The really good guys, and you're seeing some of those guys like Michael Venom Page having tremendous success inside MMA organizations, and Raymond Daniels in Glory Kickboxing. Similar.
It's a precision thing, right? So not only are they closing the distance, but they hit you back, and then they're out.
Yes.
Wonderboy's actually doing a fantastic job of not allowing Masvidal to trap him in any way. Watch here.
Right.
He's circling right, so as Masvidal starts to attack, here goes left. See that? He's always moving side to side. He's never where Masvidal can actually get a beat on him.
Well, point fighters are also... Oh, Masvidal clipped him!
Yep, nice hook by Masvidal.
See if Garbrandt can follow it up here. Less than a minute to go, round 2.
But that's the difference in a left hook from Tyron Woodley and a left hook from Jorge Masvidal. You see Tyron drop him every time he hit him like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was really only 2 good exchanges in those fights where Tyron connected, and in both of them, Wonderboy was in deep trouble. There's a good leg kick by Masvidal. You're seeing the redness all over the thighs.
Masvidal's fighting his fight. He's having some success. It's just not frequent enough. The vast majority of the round, he's actually on the defensive side of the attacks because Wonderboy's fighting his fight. He's not actually taking him out of his rhythm.
Oh, he clipped him with that left hand. What a beautiful combination, too. He throws the right hand to the body and then immediately up to the front top. Look at that, how he gets away from that shot. Smooth movement.
Here you see Wonderboy on his feet, change the angle, big right hand over the top, hurts Masvidal. Masvidal recovers right away. And again, just darting in, hitting him with punches, and then here's Masvidal's left hook. Boom, right on the button of Wonderboy. So listen, Wonderboy's having success, but Masvidal's having his moments too over the course of these rounds, just not as many.
Every time he throws a leg kick, count over the punch to the face, even if he push kick. Get out there.
Hey, leg kick is still there. Give me one, finish hands, finish your feet, one time. Step off ball, round kick. It's there, all now.
You understand? He's desperate.
Take advantage. Let's go.
He's desperate. You got to finish it.
UFC 217 Bisping versus GSP is presented by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
Close the gate.
All right, third and final round forthcoming here. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Jorge Garbrandt Masvidal. So, DC, what do you do here if you're Garbrandt, right? We talked about the split decisions, being on the wrong side of them. Got to be urgent, but strategically, what do you do?
I think you have to just have that sense of urgency. You got to get in the face of Wonderboy Thompson. You got to take him out of that rhythm. You got to get him from bouncing. You got to find a way to trap this guy. Look, the leg kicks have been good for him. He's landed some good strikes, but just not often enough. He needs to make Wonderboy just fight him. Right there. Double leg shot. Even if he doesn't get this, it puts him close enough to get his damage off. And he's got the urgency, right? He's in his face, he's moving forward, and he's throwing more already.
Look at all the welts and redness on the back of the thighs of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah, he's really punished the legs of Thompson, and Thompson has not really done that to him. Thompson hasn't landed many leg kicks, if any at all. Most of what he's done is to the top, going high, to the body, and really working with the punches.
Stats appear to be down right now, but could be pretty evenly matched in terms of significant strikes. Nice 1-2 from Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
And Thompson is actually throwing his backhand first and finishing with his jab hand, which is very difficult to do at the highest levels.
Yeah, he's just got such an unorthodox style. And hands down, like, almost the entire time. Right hand over the top there.
And that's one of the longer combinations you'll see Wonder Boy throw. 4 punches.
Oh, remember the spin, missed. Garbrandt got out of the way. Oh, look at that, to the body. And he's key-eyeing as he's punching now, too.
Look at all that redness on the body of Thompson. Body all red, legs all red. Masvidal's doing a good job of landing his kicks. Yep, just got to kick more.
And you see, right leg forward is almost always front leg kicking.
Thompson still moving pretty well despite the damage to his lower body. Leg kicks, 32 landed for Jorge Garbrandt Masvidal. Under 3 minutes now to go.
How many have landed for Thompson?
Wish I could tell you, my friend.
Stats are still down. I do not think it's been very many. I think he's mostly gone up high. Masvidal still over the top. Landed on the shoulder though. Oh man.
Firefight breaking out.
Masvidal just covered up and walking forward. Does not respect the power of Wonder Boy. Oh,
he just took a left hook there though.
Oh. Well, I think Masvidal understands that he has to throw himself into the fire in order to be successful here. He's not going to win a point fighting match.
He does need to do that. He's got a great chin. Masvidal's one of the toughest guys that you've ever seen step foot in the octagon. He's not afraid of a fight.
Tough and crafty. You know, I mean, he finds ways to win, and that's what he's looking for here.
Less than 2 minutes now to go. Conceivably could be anyone's fight.
Look for that spin again. Got Snake, the way he moves from the waist. I mean, there's no one else in the division that moves
and again, like you said, just comfortable with the hands down in such close proximity to your opponent.
Yeah. He's just so used to it. This is his style. He's taking some damage though. You see that redness on the left, the right cheek from the left hook of Masvidal.
And if you watch this fight, and if this fight is going as we think we're seeing it, it shows you the level of Tyron Woodley, right?
Yes.
To be able to solve this puzzle twice.
Not just that, but the intelligence to fight with patience and strategy. Despite the boos and despite all the criticism, that's why he took very little damage in those fights. And that might be the only way to beat this guy.
There's no bar fight.
Yeah.
Thompson continues to circle under 45 seconds to go.
Switch and then steps right in with the left hand, and then it touches you with the left and lunges forward with the right.
The jab is just a blinder, right? The jab is just to touch you.
Oh, but he got clipped
there. It's the right hand that he's trying to hit you with.
Masvidal clipped him with the left hand there.
You watch the urgency of Masvidal. You watch the urgency of Masvidal and you realize how much of a veteran in the sport he is. Because he knows, he can feel he might be down in this fight. So he's just getting in there, giving himself a shot to get the victory.
Final seconds here. Thompson with a flurry. Masvidal attacks the body again. Thompson returns fire. So a nice display of respect there. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Jorge Garbrandt Masvidal go the distance tonight.
You see Wonderboy shaking his hand. I think he might have hurt his right hand.
This fight replay is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
Here we see that side kick from Wonderboy. It's just such an unorthodox technique, and there he throws it to the face, which is even more unorthodox. Look at that beautiful step to the side, changes the angle, lands a crisp right hand over the top. There's a nice left hook as well. Just put on a defensive and offensive karate show here. And, you know, give Masvidal the credit he deserves, because he never stopped coming forward and never stopped trying to land the knockout shot.
And it looked as though Stephen Thompson said, I think I broke my thumb, so that bears watching. These guys were doing a Q&A together when this fight was sort of consummated. Very interesting stuff, but it made sense for Sean Shelby. He made the fight And largely the fighters delivered here tonight as we await the scorecards. Thompson came in number 2 in this welterweight division, but having already had 2 cracks at the champion Tyron Woodley. Gamebred Masvidal came in the 4th-ranked welterweight, was hoping to punch his ticket. The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Now we turn it over to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 30-26, 30-27, and 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
All right, I'm here with the winner, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. First of all, congratulations on an excellent win over a very tough guy. Was there anything about this fight that was surprising to you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's very resilient, very tough guy, very hard to put away. I knew it was going to probably, you know, if it was going to be a knockout, it would be in the earlier rounds. I ended up knocking him down, wanted to keep the fight standing, but he's just a tough guy, very good at catching the kicks, so I was very lenient on throwing those too much, which I've seen him do in the past, but man, he's definitely number 4 for a reason.
Now, this seems like at this stage of your career, you're not just trying to get wins, but you're also trying to make an argument that you should once again fight for the world title. After 2 very close fights with the champion, Tyron Woodley, do you feel like tonight was enough, or do you feel like you need more of a statement?
You know, I could have done better tonight, but everybody knows that, hey, I'm not giving up on that title, baby. I'm going to go for it no matter what. And ended up pulling out the win tonight. Not my best performance, but you know, I've been out for 8 months with a knee injury, so it's just good to get back in here, not just get back in the octagon, but Madison Square Garden in New York City. But I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, baby, and all my teammates, and you as well, Joe Rogan.
Thank you as well. Now, it seemed like you hurt your hand somewhere in the fight. When you came back, you were shaking it. What happened?
I think in the 2nd round, throwing the lead hand hook with my left and my right hands, ended up hitting him with my thumb. I don't know if it was an elbow or if it was a skull, but I couldn't make a fist in the 3rd round. But it's all right, though. You know, I'll heal up and get back in here.
Well, congratulations on the victory. Look forward to seeing you again, sir. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, ladies and gentlemen.
Simpsonville, South Carolina.
So Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Simpsonville, South Carolina's finest. 9-2-1 inside the octagon after outpointing Jorge Gamebred Masvidal here tonight. Well, the stars are out tonight for UFC 217. There he is, number 6 in your program. The best player on the New York Knicks, the unicorn, Kristaps Porzingis. CC Sabathia, pretty good postseason for the New York Yankees, who fell 1 win shy of a return trip to the World Series. And celebrity chef, you can see him in Hell's Kitchen on Fox. Longtime UFC fan Gordon Ramsay in the building for UFC 217 here tonight. All right, coming up next, are we here already? It'll be the UFC Strawweight Championship fight between Joanna Jedrejczyk and Thug Rose Namajunas, brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3, powered by Real Player Motion Tech. EA Sports UFC 3 delivers the most authentic UFC experience ever in a video game. Pre-order now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
All the champions, all the action.
That's it! He's got the choke! Max Holloway is the featherweight champion!
Look at this!
All the greatness.
Frankie Edgar by knockout!
All the hype.
Massive knee for the Reeve!
An aggressive striker who loves to KO fighters.
As close as you can get without stepping foot in the octagon. Are you ready for the fights to begin? UFC 218, Holloway versus Edgar, Saturday, December 2nd, live on pay-per-view.
Back live inside Madison Square Garden, and next week the hits keep on coming. We'll be in Norfolk, Virginia for an FS1 UFC Fight Night, and what amounts to yet another high-profile spot for the Diamond.
Everything revolves around fighting in my life. There's not a time that I'm not thinking about becoming a better fighter or what this can do for me and my family. Every day I wake up and put in the work. I had my first fight over 10 years ago.
There's a lot of hype behind this young kid. Tremendous performance by Dustin Poirier.
My goal in this sport is to go through as many battles, as many wars as I have to get that belt wrapped around my waist and say I did it.
Coruscant is in a world of pain here. Dustin Poirier, another finish.
Anthony's a guy who I've been watching fight a long time, former WC champ. UFC champ, defended his belt in the UFC. He's an exciting guy to watch. And to beat Anthony Pettis, who's a former world champion. What does that say about the caliber of fighter that I am when I'm just putting these champions down back to back? I won my title shot.
I fought the best at 155 pounds. I'm not in here to be a contender or be a gatekeeper. I'm looking to be a champion. One fight at a time, we'll get back to that belt.
I cannot explain to you how excited I am about the fight between Anthony Pettis and Dustin Poirier. Guaranteed fireworks. For Anthony Pettis, this fight answers the question, are you ready to accomplish that big goal that you accomplished in Milwaukee so many years ago? For Dustin Poirier, can you get into the top 5? Can you cross the hurdle of the former champion? If you do that, the sky's the limit.
Dustin Poirier!
I believe I'm going to be a world champion. I'd like to end this fight with a finish. Submission or knockout of Anthony Pettis. I'm going to put on the best performance of my life and get a title shot.
We're going to throw down. I mean, Dustin Poirier doesn't hold back. I don't hold back. I want to see this end with a finish. I deserve to be the #1 guy at 155 pounds, and I'll make sure I show that to the world.
I mean, how good is that main event as we go inside the numbers? Brought to you by The Walking Dead. New episodes every Sunday at 9, 8 Central, only on AMC. Any stuff for Dustin Poirier, DC?
Yeah, Dustin Poirier has grown up in the UFC. After the fight with Eddie Alvarez is a no contest, he wanted a big name. He gets the former champion in Anthony Pettis in a headlining spot. Big spot for DP and big spot for Lafayette, Louisiana.
And Joe Rogan on the other side, Anthony Showtime Pettis back to the division in which he did his best work.
I think that's the right move. I think the move is just for him to get stronger at 155 pounds. He's too big for 145. It was a brutal weight cut. He is one of the very best kickers in the sport. Phenomenal striking skills, and when he's at his best, he's one of the best fighters in the world. We've seen some losses from him, but when he's at his best, focused and healthy, he's a phenomenal fighter. It's whether it's a matter of motivation or whether it's a matter of the competition being stiffer. I still have a lot of faith in this kid, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that fight between two extremely talented guys.
A lot of big names on the fight card. FS1 UFC Fight Night, Poirier versus Pettis. You can see it next Saturday night on FS1. Co-main event, how good is that? Matt Brown versus Diego Sanchez. It will be the final fight, the retirement fight for the longtime UFC roster staple, Matt the Immortal Brown. We'll see how it goes for him against another longtime roster staple, Diego Nightmare Sanchez. Junior Alpini, Andre Arlovsky. It's all coming your way 1 week from tonight from Norfolk, Virginia. Beautiful night shot of the Manhattan skyline. This is a city under construction right now, but of course, there is no place quite like New York, New York. These UFC strawweight rankings brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3, powered by Real Player Motion Tech. EA Sports UFC 3 delivers the most authentic UFC experience ever in a video game. Pre-order now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So Rose Namajunas, entrenched there at number 4, fought for the inaugural 115-pound title in her UFC debut, was favored to beat Carla Esparza that night. 3 years later, she has worked her way back, and now Joanna Jedrejczyk is the champion of this strawweight division. So 3 championship fights coming your way on pay-per-view here tonight, the first of which is now just moments away in front of a capacity crowd at Madison Square Garden. After soaring to the top, Joanna Jedrejczyk has stayed there. She is now on the verge of UFC history. Tonight, Thug Rose Namajunas is in her crosshairs.
It hasn't been an easy road getting here. It's been all hard work and dedication, but having fun with it at the same time. Just working really hard and having fun with it has been the whole main focus getting back to this point. I want to show everybody that I'm the real champ.
I challenge myself every day. I learn new things every day, and I want to be a better fighter, better champion with every fight.
Joanna Jedrejczyk is an assassin. She's definitely trying to tear your head off. Unbelievable kickboxing world champion, UFC champion, Nobody ever thought that we would see another women's champion as dominant as Ronda Rousey. Joanna Jedrejczyk is knocking on the door, and it does not look like she's about to slow down at all.
I want people to remember me as one of the greatest UFC fighters.
And again, they can stop this match right, and it's all over.
Joanna's been tested on a number of occasions, and she pushed right through it. But Rose Namajunas is a new challenge. You got to be very careful against Rose, because if not, boom, flying armbar. She has more submissions than anyone in this division. She's willing to try anything, get her hand raised.
A win over Joanna to me means that I'm the greatest of all time, best in the world. That's what I'm doing this for. I'm here to take that title from her.
She's very talented, she's very sneaky, she's never going to be ready for me. I'm the best fighter in the world. I want to retire as undefeated, and it's my goal, and I make my goals come true.
It's tough to get a read on this young lady.
I'm telling you.
Facing a monster at the weigh-in, looking in the face of danger, and she's just dead-faced.
I know you called her enigmatic, I believe, earlier this week, and I thought it was a good adjective, but here is Thug Rose Namajunas, 25 years old. She has made major strides mentally and physically, came in 5 pounds heavier this week, and DC, at least on paper, she's got the most finishes in the history of this division. 3 more submissions on tough that don't count. We'll see if she can get the submission game going tonight.
Well, she has to get the fight to the ground, right? She has to get the fight to the ground, and she needs to get the fight to the ground early. Because the longer she stands, the longer she allows Joanna Jedrejczyk to get into a rhythm, the more it will frustrate her. This young lady, as you said earlier, got a title shot before, but she may have been too young. Everything wasn't in order. Now she feels like the timing is perfect for her to become the UFC champion.
And I would think, Joe, if you're looking for a striking coach that can figure out a way to at least stem the tide when it comes to Joanna Jedrejczyk, it's Trevor Whitman, very talented coach.
Very, very talented striking coach, and this is an excellent pupil. I mean, she's a special fighter. She's only 25 years of age. The real question is she ready? We're going to find out in just a few moments.
Top team trained. Here is the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC strawweight champion, still undefeated, Joanna Jedrejczyk. And tonight, Joe, she will try to tie Ronda Rousey's record with 6 consecutive successful title defenses.
I'm never going to forget handing the microphone to her when she's talking to Rose Namajunas, and she says, "The Boogie Woman is coming for you." That was scary, scary stuff, man.
You had to take a moment.
I did, legitimately. She's ferocious, man, and she's incredibly talented. She has a beautiful jab that sets up a lot of her strikes. Fantastic Muay Thai, multiple-time world champion, and her takedown defense has been absolutely stellar in MMA. You saw how good Jessica Andrade was in her last fight when she fought Claudia Gadelha, who had been one of the toughest contests for Joanna Jedrejczyk. But Joanna was able to shut down the incredibly and explosive Jessica Andrade in a way that no one else has been able to. It's her footwork, her movement, her skill, her experience, and her endurance, and the hunger and the desire to stay champion.
It's crazy that when this young lady defends this belt, every time it seems that she's almost brought to tears because it means so much to her. Now, we're talking about her tying Ronda Rousey's record for title defenses. But in terms of being in women's title fights, she is already the queen of that stat.
Right.
Because when Ronda got the belt, it transferred over from Strikeforce. It was given to her. Joanna Jedrejczyk won the belt and has defended it 6 times. So she's already been in 7 women's title fights. We are looking at maybe the greatest female fighter this sport has ever seen.
And she has made major investments in her training, in her nutrition. She also insists her ground game is strong. We haven't seen a lot of it, but she's now been with ATT for the better part of 2 years. Scary proposition for the rest of this division. The Taylor Tape brought to you by Wish, the secret to affordable shopping. Joanna Jedrejczyk, 30 years old. Rose Namajunas, born in 1992. Jedrejczyk 1 inch taller. She weighed in at 115 pounds, 114 for Namajunas. Slight reach advantage with Joanna champion. All right, now to get us started for this strawweight title tilt, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC strawweight championship of the world. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Jeff Mullen, Chris Lee, and Derek Cleary. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Big John McCarthy. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 7 wins, 3 losses. She stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing in at 114 pounds. Fighting out of Denver, Colorado, presenting the number 4 ranked strawweight contender in the world, the challenger, Thug Rose Namajunas. And now introducing the champion, fighting out of the red corner, a striker holding an undefeated professional record, 14 wins, no losses. She stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighing in at 115 pounds. Fighting out of Austin, Poland, presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC strawweight champion of the world, Joanna Jedrejczyk.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rules in the back. I want you to protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. I want you to fight hard and fight in. If you want to touch gloves, touch them now. Good. Step back. Good luck.
Well, if that doesn't get going,
Rose
may want to check that
away.
J.A., if they've been excited about us calling them before, they're going to have a good time now because I can't wait for these 3. Let's go.
Here we go.
5 rounds if needed to determine the UFC strawweight champion. Joanna Jedrejczyk wearing the black and gold, befitting a champion. Rose Namajunas is in blue.
Right away when you look at him, Joanna's a little bit thicker. Yep, she's a little bit bigger. And that's why she gets the questions of whether or not she's going to ever fight up at 125, because she is a little bigger for the weight class.
And of course, we'll crown the first UFC women's flyweight champion later this year. That was not an opportunity that would have been there for Jedrejczyk when she made her UFC debut.
But she doesn't seem to have any problem making the weight.
Right.
And better to be big.
Yes. Namajunas looks pretty comfortable on the feet so far.
She landed a nice leg kick to start things off.
She's seeing everything. She's moving. She caught a little bit of counter right hand there. She has to really stay within herself as she attacks Jedrejczyk.
Jedrejczyk just might have the best jab man or woman in all of MMA.
Yeah, she has a beautiful jab. It's long, and she sets up fantastic combinations from it.
And Joanna can strike going forward. She can strike going back. So there's not really a place for you to get reckless, because Jedrejczyk has the ability to counter just as well as she fights going forward.
And the real question with this fight is, with her always improving takedown defense, is this going to be a kickboxing match? And can Rose Namajunas hang with one of the best kickboxers on the planet Earth?
Rose is going to have to mix in some takedowns. She's going to have to mix in some of her striking just to break up the idea that she can be that comfortable in a kickboxing situation.
Yeah.
Knockdown for Namajunas.
Rose tagged her, and Rose has a fantastic submission game.
And this is where Rose has the advantage.
Rose moves into
Rose
mount.
has the advantage.
She's got her back. She's tagging her. She let her up.
Rose has the advantage on the ground and in the clinch here.
So Jedrejczyk back to her feet, but an early moment for the underdog challenger Namajunas.
Huge confidence for Rose Namajunas now. She knows she can stun her, but she's getting a little reckless.
It looked like Jedrejczyk was trying to throw a kick as Rose attacked her, and the shot grazed her a little bit and knocked her backwards. But I think it was a balance thing a little bit more. But big moment for Rose Namajunas.
Last 4 defenses for Jedrejczyk as she eats another left hand.
Again. She tagged her with the right that time.
Yep.
Last 4 defenses for the champ have all been by unanimous decision, but you got to be careful hanging out in the pocket against Jedrejczyk.
Well, Rose...
Another knockdown! Rose Namajunas trying to close the show!
She was doing a great job of feinting.
That's it!
It's over!
Rose Namajunas! Rose Namajunas!
Dog Rose! Dog Rose!
Unbelievable!
Dog Rose!
There is a new strawweight queen!
Dog Rose with the feint left hook! Dog Rose!
And to do... Look, Joanna is refusing help, and she can't even stand up.
She's mad, but she's hurt.
She's hurt bad. She can't even stand up.
Dog Rose! Congratulations, coach!
Fantastic. Trevor Whitman just walked over to say
congratulations, coach!
And Whitman said fundamentals.
Unbelievable.
Rose Namajunas, guys, a picture of composure all week. She has turned the mixed martial arts world on its axis tonight. The fight replay.
And who would have ever guessed that she would have won this way?
Rose!
Look at this left hand. Look at this left hand. Bam! The legs go. I mean, that is clean. Astral traveling. Unbelievable. Look at this. Boom, the lights go out in Georgia.
Jody said that to learn Trevor Whitman's striking system, it takes time, and Rose has finally mastered it. She became the champ. Thug Rose. Thug Rose.
And she's 25 years old. This is a really young kid.
My goodness.
Unbelievable.
That fight replay was brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you, and I'm being told that Joanna Jedrejczyk tapped due to the strikes. Rose Namajunas has done it. Absolutely incredible result here in New York City tonight. Obviously an emotional now former champion Joanna Jedrejczyk, but you know, the words coming out of Rose Namajunas this week, few and far between. She let her actions do the talking, and as a plus 400 underdog tonight, Rose Namajunas bounces Joanna Jedrejczyk from the ranks of the unbeaten. We're going to take one final look. We'll see if we can see the tap. There's the tap. And Namajunas immediately stopped. Nice job by the production crew.
Man, Rose Namajunas with that feint left hook put her down and got the finish. My goodness.
The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Big John McCarthy has called a stop to this contest at 3 minutes, 3 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by knockout and new undisputed UFC strawweight champion of the world, Thug Rose
I'm at a loss for words. That was unbelievable. The winner and new UFC strawweight champion of the world, Rose Namajunas. How does that sound to you?
Man, it sounds like butter. Sound like butter.
Does this even feel real?
No, it don't. I feel like a movie right now.
There was so much tension and so much emotion leading up to this fight. The weigh-ins, she was saying all kinds of crazy stuff to you, and you were reciting the Lord's Prayer. What was going through your mind when all this was happening?
There's so much like crap going on in the media, news and stuff, and I just want to try and use my gift of martial arts to try and make this world a better place and change the world. This belt don't mean nothing, man. Just be a good person. That's it. You know, this is extra. This is awesome, but let's just give each other hugs and be nice, man. I mean, I know we fight, but this is entertainment. You know, afterwards, it's nothing.
Rose, out of all the ways that people thought you were going to win this fight, winning by knockout was very low on that list. But let's take a look at what you did. You had caught her early with a right hand, but this left hook is what closed the show. You dropped her, you saw her legs give out, you saw her eyes roll back. What went through your mind when you saw that happen?
Just confidence, condition, composure, and content. I'm a champion. That's all I was saying the entire time, just my mantra.
Well, you dropped bombs on her and she tapped due to strikes, and now you are the new strawweight champion of the world. Tell us how you feel.
I feel like a normal person, man. That's it. I'm just regular. Ain't nothing special here.
There's something special whether you admit it or not. Congratulations on an amazing performance. It was an honor to call your fight. Rose Namajunas, ladies and gentlemen.
How about it? That post-fight interview brought to you by Wish, the secret to affordable shopping. And fittingly, the 303 Training Center rep gets it done at 303 of the opening round. We are just digesting this here, and you do wonder if they might just run this thing back, given all the goodwill that Joanna Jedrejczyk has established. But there is a new fighter at the top of the heap at 115 pounds. Thug Rose.
Phenomenal. I mean, just phenomenal. I mean, you have to wonder. I mean, there's so many factors in this fight, right? Did Joanna underestimate the striking of Rose? Was she too vulnerable? Was Rose just getting better? I mean, you got to factor that as well. She's 25 years old, and you know the leaps that a 25-year-old fighter can make.
You know, before the fights, we talked in the back, you and I, and you said, you know, Joanna's been in some wars.
Yes.
She's been in some wars, and
want to take a look at some of the numbers here. Brought to you by The Walking Dead. New episodes every Sunday at 9, 8 Central, only on AMC. We told you that Rose Namajunas came in as the most prolific finisher in the history of this strawweight division. She adds to her total here tonight in dramatic fashion as she beats Joanna Jedrejczyk.
And it speaks to her mindset in the post-fight interview. She's saying just be a good person.
Right.
I mean, she's not even thinking about the fact. I mean, she is kind of, but she also is trying to get a message out to be a good person after she just wins the most important fight of her life and wins the world title. I mean,
you finally saw some emotion from her, right? So it kind of makes you almost tear up.
I'm telling you.
But guys, we got to woosah because we still got more to go.
We got a lot more to go.
Big ones coming up.
Big ones coming up.
Can't help but feel good though for Rose Namajunas, for Trevor Whitman, for Rose's fiance, UFC veteran Pat Barry. Major result here tonight at Madison Square Garden. Well, more to come, of course, tonight, but our next pay-per-view will be UFC 218, December 2nd in Detroit, as featherweight champion Max Holloway looks to extend one of the greatest winning streaks the UFC has ever seen.
UFC 218, Detroit, Michigan. Unbelievable atmosphere for Max Holloway versus Frankie Edgar.
BJ Penn really set the tone for Hawaii and for all the athletes that have come out of Hawaii since. You know, they step in there with a tenacity that is sometimes overwhelming for their opponents, and Max Holloway is the new wave of that. Holloway's a tenacious fighter.
We saw that in the fight with Ricardo Lamas when he said, pointed to the ground and said, let's go.
Wow. But it looks like they're going to swing to the very end. Wow. What a finish.
Max Holloway is a stud, a guy that actually won 11 fights in a row, has more wins and has more finishes than anyone else in UFC featherweight history, and won the interim title from former lightweight champion Anthony Pettis, and then goes to Brazil and beats the most dominant featherweight champion in UFC history in Jose Aldo.
Like Max Holloway knocks down Jose Aldo. That'll do it. Max Holloway is the undisputed UFC featherweight champion. Hawaii, stand up.
But Max Holloway has got his hands full with former UFC lightweight champ Frankie Edgar.
Going into his last fight against Yair Rodriguez, a lot of people were looking at Frankie Edgar and thinking that this might be the point where the new generation comes in and shows that it's taken over the sport. And Frankie Edgar basically gave a lesson to Yair Rodriguez.
Beautiful. Oh! Yeah, he's getting lit up here. That left eye is completely shut. They're stopping the fight. He just breaks people. Incredible work ethic, constantly improving and refining his technique. He's as good as he's ever been, and he is one of the best fighters in the world today.
For Frankie Edgar, you're trying to go into that exclusive class, that small group of guys that were able to do it at 2 weight classes. For Max Holloway, you're building a pound-for-pound #1 resume. When you add Frankie Edgar to the list of names, then he is in the conversation for who's #1. Fans are in for a scrap.
I am incredibly pumped about this fight because I think Max Holloway is a special fighter, and I think special fighters need special opponents, and that's what Frankie Edgar is. And Frankie Edgar is an amazing fighter who's a former champion at 145, who I think, judging by the Yair Rodriguez fight, not just has a lot left in the tank, but might be getting better. This is an amazing matchup for one of the most important belts. And Alistair Overeem versus Francis Ngannou is chaos. That's a chaos fight. Who knows what's going to happen there? And it's a big test for Ngannou. The first real world-class striker he's facing and a former world champion in Alistair Overeem. Henry Cejudo, who looked spectacular in his last outing, has a real challenge in Sergio Pettis. Eddie Alvarez versus Justin Gaethje is crazy. That's a crazy fight.
Embarrassment of riches.
I love it.
UFC 218, and here are the prelims. You can see these December 2nd on FS1. John Dodson, Marlon Moraes. I mean, that could be on pay-per-view. It'll be good to see Tatiana Suarez get back in the octagon for the first time in a long time. Sage Northcutt taking on Mitchell Quinones, and Angela Hill and Nina Ansaroff in this 115-pound division that is now run by Thug Rose Namajunas.
Wow.
Well,
say that again.
I'm telling you, I can't say
that
enough.
again. Thug Rose Namajunas is the world strawweight champion. Wow.
Nobody's celebrating. Jessica Andrade is pretty happy right now.
Right? All right, well, before you watch tonight's championship fight between Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw, check out The Ultimate Fight on The Walking Dead. Rick versus Negan memes all-out war. Don't miss new episodes every Sunday at 9/8 Central only on AMC.
Listen, all of you have a chance to survive, but those who use and take and kill, we end them.
This journey will not end in retreat.
The future is ours. The world is ours.
This is the only way.
Now time to look at some UFC bantamweight rankings brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3, powered by Real Player Motion Tech. EA Sports UFC 3 delivers the most authentic UFC experience ever in a video game. Pre-order now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So DC, TJ Dillashaw, he's been the man before. He'll look to become a two-time champion here in a matter of moments.
A lot of people thought this was the fight of the card to begin with. Now we get to watch Garbrandt and Dillashaw finally settle this rival. But Dominic Cruz, Jimmy Rivera is coming up. What the bantamweight division is crazy right now. I don't know what to say because I just watched that fight. This is going to be amazing. I'm clapping like it. Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. Let's go.
I'm with you, man. Look, I love this fight. I love this matchup. There's so much to this fight.
One of the most intense rivalries in combat sports, and it'll be settled here and now. Former training partners and teammates, Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw collide in a battle for the UFC Bantamweight Championship of the world.
Oh, beautiful right hand. Corral's in trouble.
Finish! Corral on his back! TJ Dillashaw!
The first UFC title for Team Alpha Male. What a moment. What an incredible moment.
Recognize the enemy. He went running from you guys. Uriah took him out of school, built him up. Dwayne comes in, takes over, and then takes the champion.
And they were asking TJ, like, what's going on? And he was like, no, I'm staying here, I'm Team Alpha Male. So he straight lied to my face. I think TJ's a piece of the way that he conducts himself as a teammate, as a person, his morals, his loyalty is very questionable.
I've traveled the world and continue to make gains with new coaches. They're stuck in their gym because it's Team Alpha Male versus everyone.
Well, this has been a master class in footwork and movement from the former champion. He's continuing to get better. This is the best we've ever seen TJ.
Garbrandt has been a knockout artist of the highest order in his MMA career.
Garbrandt stops Marcus Brimage! Almeida's out!
Cody Garbrandt, nothing short of spectacular.
Bantamweight title on the line.
Good head movement by Cody Garbrandt, mocking Dominic. Oh, he tagged him. Oh! He is talking trash to Dominic and laughing at him. This is awesome.
I lost, and I'm going to take it like a man. Because he's still got to fight another guy who comes from Alpha Male who's just as angry as I am.
It's very rewarding to be able to finally end that chapter with Dominic Cruz for myself, but also for my team. I pride myself on being a proud Team Alpha Male member. Now we're at a bigger foe in TJ.
Instantly when Cody won, I knew this stuff between me and Team Alpha Male was going to perfectly line me up to get my belt back. He's holding on to his vengeance. Uriah's in his ear. He's turned this whole Team Alpha Male thing into his.
If you have a problem with someone, you confront him.
You know, Cody's a hothead. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
TJ's a generic version of Dominic Cruz. It's no different when I deal with Dominic what I'm going to do to TJ. You're like a prostitute on the corner bouncing around from the gyms. It's going to be lights, camera, action, Madison Square Gardens. We're going to put on a great show at the Mecca of fighting. There's a lot on the line for both of us.
I'm the best in the world, and I'm going to go out there and prove it.
I plan on a vicious knockout to retain the title first round.
That's my belt! I want my belt back!
But for my money, this is still one of the best pound-for-pound mixed martial artists on the planet. The former UFC Bantamweight King, now #2 in the world, TJ Dillashaw.
I agree with you 100%, and I think he brought a lot of skills to the table, but that man behind him, Dwayne "Bang" Ludwig, is responsible for a massive amount of his development. The bond that those two men have is very special and incredibly beneficial to TJ. He has learned from the wealth of knowledge that Bang took from Boss Rutten and all of his coaches, and it just serves him amazingly well.
Dillashaw has entered this prep point brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. So DC 14th UFC appearance for TJ Dillashaw here tonight. Now this fight initially scheduled for UFC 213 in July, and the extra time has only served to build this fight.
Yeah, he's built a great camp around himself. He's wrestling with guys like Aaron Pico. He's training with all these guys down in Southern California and getting better. Now, the thing about this fight is TJ Dillashaw has actually gotten better by leaving Team Alpha Male. So whereas the team has gotten mad at him for walking away, if you watched him in the fight against John Lineker, he looked way better than he ever has. So how do you blame a guy for going out and finding a better situation for him?
Yeah, and he really did diffuse Lineker. Was one of the scariest guys in the division. Lineker was completely ineffective against TJ, and it's because of his footwork, his movement, and all the knowledge that he's accumulated, both from Alpha Male and since.
Phenomenal striker, obviously, I think that goes without saying, but the far more offensive grappler in this equation. 21 takedowns secured in this division. His 12 submission attempts tied for the most in the division's history, so might be an advantage.
And what may be a factor also is the diversity of his attack. He'll kick a lot more. He'll do a lot more different things, whereas Cody is incredibly boxing-oriented.
TJ Dillashaw back training in Southern California. Back with Mark Munoz, his old wrestling coach. We'll see if Dillashaw can get one he wants in the worst way here tonight. So here he is, the proud Ohio native, proud Team Alpha male rep, and the undefeated UFC bantamweight champion, Cody Garbrandt, DC. It's been a long 11 months. Tonight he puts his belt on the line for the first time.
You know, he's back to defend his championship, and in the perfect atmosphere for Cody Garbrandt. He wanted to fight TJ Dillashaw. He gladly carries the alpha male flag on his back. He told the guys when TJ left, don't worry about it. You have upgraded. I am better. He feels like he put the Dominic Cruz rivalry in the rearview mirror, and today he puts an end to the TJ Dillashaw nightmare from Team Alpha Male. Cody Garbrandt, for everything that he is a phenomenal mixed martial artist. High school state champion in Ohio as a freshman. Right. That doesn't happen very often. So he can do everything. I know he has a boxing heavy style, but he does have the ability to mix everything up as he showed against Dominic Cruz.
And no one knows the style that TJ Dillashaw is going to bring into the octagon better than this man. I mean, you're talking about a guy who didn't just train with him, but trained under the men who taught him. That is gigantic. He knows his psychology, he knows his mindset, he knows his weaknesses, he knows his strengths, he knows his secrets.
And that performance against Dominic Cruz at UFC 207, I know, Joe, you talked a lot about Dillashaw against Renan Barão. That's one of the greatest championship performances by an underdog challenger we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
So here's Cody No Love Garbrandt, 11-0. This is a plus athlete. DC mentioned the wrestling credentials. This is a guy who had 150 tackles as a middle linebacker in Ohio at 135 pounds. So Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw. It sounds trite, but it just does not get a whole lot better than this, ladies and gentlemen. The Tail of the Tape brought to you by Wish, the secret to affordable shopping. Cody Garbrandt is 26. TJ Dillashaw is now 31. Garbrandt the taller party by an inch and a half. Both men making the championship weight of 135 pounds. Dillashaw with a reach advantage of an inch and a hook. Now for the official introductions, back inside to Bruce Buck.
Ladies and gentlemen, this championship bout is sponsored by Walking Dead. New episodes every Sunday at 9/8 Central, only on AMC. And the Netflix film Bright, starring Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. Watch it on Netflix December 22nd. And now, this fight is 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC Bantamweight Championship of the World. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Dave Torelli, Sal Diamato, and Jeff Mullen. And when the action begins, a referee in charge of the octagon, Dan Mergliata. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a Bang Muay Thai fighter holding a professional record, 15 wins, 3 losses. He stands 5 feet 6 and 1/2 inches tall, weighing in at 135 pounds. He is the #2 ranked bantamweight contender in the world and the former UFC bantamweight champion, presenting the challenger, TJ Dillashaw! And now introducing the champion, fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter holding an undefeated professional record, 11 wins, no losses. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 135 pounds. Fighting out of Sacramento, California, presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC bantamweight champion of the world, Cody "No Love" Garbrandt.
Cody. All right, gentlemen. 50 rules in the locker room. Watch me like a man at all time. Watch fake shows all the time. Watch us close to it now. I'm going to both of you. Oh, okay.
And if you bet on the prop that they would not touch gloves and it's time to cash those
Just
tickets.
got paid,
TJ was willing.
got paid.
Is that a prop? Is that really a bet?
I don't know.
You know more than I do, dude. Don't front.
TJ seemed willing. So here we go, 25 minutes if needed. TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt, one of, if not the biggest UFC Bantamweight Championship fight this octagon has ever hosted. Garbrandt in the black and gold of a champion, TJ Dillashaw switching stances as usual as in blue.
TJ has a remarkable ability to be calm in big fights, and you saw that in the Henan Barao fight. He came out fighting Barao like he was sparring, very loose and relaxed, and he looks that way now.
He's smiling. TJ Dillashaw is smiling.
Yeah, he loves competition. He loves to fight, and this is where he belongs.
The one thing the guys from Alpha Male say, if you can get TJ frustrated, he is willing to forget about the game plan and try to just fight you. And they feel if he does that, he opens himself up to get hurt bad by Cody Garbrandt.
And that's what happened in the Dominic Cruz fight. He started getting flat-footed, tried to KO Dominic, and really wasn't fighting to his best.
Yeah.
With Cody, you have to worry about split-second mistakes that can cause you to get knocked out.
Well,
that's the difference.
Well, you watch Cody and Cruz, every time Cruz threw a punch, Cody would respond with something, whether it be the hands or the kicks. So Dillashaw has to make sure that he sets him up. He can't throw blind kicks like this because Garbrandt, as athletic as he is able to evade the strikes and then return something. But when he returns, it's very powerful.
Yeah, his counters are wicked, they're fast, he has beautiful timing and precision accuracy with knockout power. There's extreme consequences for closing that distance with Cody Garbrandt.
Garbrandt really feels like he can use TJ's status as a competitor and his ego against him. He said, I can be the knife that cuts him. Don't miss The Walking Dead, new episodes every Sunday at 9, 8 Central, only on AMC.
TJ's doing a lot of smiling, a lot of mugging. Cody is very stoic.
Cody's trying to trap him. TJ Dillashaw has the better footwork. He's the guy that moves a lot more. But Garbrandt has unbelievable speed and power and throws in combination, and every punch is thrown with intent to knock you out. Dillashaw can hurt you in a number of ways. Feet, hands, knees. But Garbrandt can put you out with his hands. He mixes up his kicks to try to get to the punches.
Well, Cody feels like he owes TJ something, at least for this title reign. He did well against him in practice when he was 1-0, and Dillashaw, and that success gave him confidence that he could do this, and a flurry for the champion.
Woo! It's getting hot in here.
TJ loaded up on that right hand, just out of range, just about 3 minutes off the round 1 clock.
That was some reckless exchanging right there, gentlemen. These guys are getting wild.
And that's the danger on Garbrandt. You watch Garbrandt kind of give him a look, and that was more impressive than anything in the Cruz fight was the calm and patience that he showed in there with the best bantamweight in the history of the UFC.
Yeah, and his ability to counter so fast and such tight shots. Tight and compact and extremely accurate. Like, look at that left hook.
He's very fast, man.
Garbrandt comes from a family of fighters. His longtime striking coach, his uncle Robert Meese, one of the best in the game. Cody tells these stories of him and his brother Zach just beating the tar out of each other for 45 minutes. This is a born fighter.
You see TJ actually reset after he throws combinations because he wants to engage on his terms. He doesn't stay in there very long because he knows the danger of standing in front of Cody Garbrandt.
Cody's fantastic with his footwork too.
His eyes, man.
Avoiding everything.
He's got great eyes. He sees everything.
Under a minute here to go, round one. Dillashaw, as yet, has had a hard time finding his range.
And Cody, when he moves away just enough. Just a master counter striker.
Right hand over
Good
the top
shots
of
to
TJ.
the body by Cody as well.
TJ is constantly switching stances. Oh, big right hand landed there by Dillashaw. For as much as these guys don't want to be considered the same, they do have that same fighter's mentality.
Big knockdown for Cody. There's the horn to end round one.
Right hand drops him bad. Oh!
At the blow, he's wobbly. He just wobbled. His leg is stiff.
And just flipped him the bird. Dillashaw has to be very careful trying to engage.
Let's take a look at this again.
Very nice.
Boom! I mean, on the button. Let's hear his corner.
I like the pressure. Corralling him into the cage is very good. Coach can hold the ice, please. Like you corral him and leave him in the cage. Leave him the dance. Just touch it, okay? You don't have to set up every kick. You can just blast a fucking kick if you want, like to the body, right? Not everything has to be a setup, okay? Just blast a fucking kick, okay? Yes, sir. I like you corralling him, cutting him off, okay? Because he doesn't like that pressure. He wants to sit there, right? Pressure them motherfuckers in the cage, the coach is saying. We fight, we pick our shots. I like the fucking body kick. Don't. Time you're done. Cover.
UFC 217, Bisping versus GSP is presented by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. I guess we'll find out the extent to which Dillashaw has recovered, but a late knockdown putting a capstone on round one for the incumbent Cody Garbrandt.
That was a big knockdown. It was a strong punch too. I mean, it was full force. He kind of coming in on the chin. We really don't know how hurt TJ still is.
But you saw the experience in the Dillashaw corner. They had ice on him immediately. They were trying to cool him down, try to bring him back. Oh, it's close. Now Cody's dancing. He's gaining confidence, but also trying to go TJ in to forget the game plan and just fighting him.
Garbrandt just so in the moment.
Sorry, but TJ's doing that now because he's become much more flat-footed. I mean, he's loading up now. Look at this. He's loading up and trying to blast kicks in. He's standing flat-footed. It's a different TJ now after he got hit. He's trying to get it back.
He's listening to Coach, though. Coach said you don't have to set up every kick. Sometimes you can just blast them, throw the body kick, throw the leg kick. Don't worry about setting them all up. That's great, but you got to be careful not to allow Garbrandt a chance to counter.
Well, he looks fine as far as the way he's moving. He looks like he's fully recovered.
You wondered when TJ might shoot. Telegraph that shot a little bit. Head strikes to this point in time. All Cody Garbrandt outlanding Dillashaw 13-3.
I don't understand this. Dillashaw's a good guy. I don't quite understand why.
Oh, he caught him with a head kick. And a right hand as well.
That's exactly what Coach was asking for. Just give me kicks. They don't have to all be set up. Now here comes Dillashaw.
Back and forth we go, just over 3 minutes.
The kicks are what we were talking about. That is the difference between, oh, he caught him with the left hand, is that TJ has more weapons.
Yes.
And he uses them more often. Cody throws kicks, but he's really throwing kicks kind of at a clear distance so he can land the punches.
Yes.
The punches are where his bread and butter's at. Was that audience yelling what I think they were yelling?
Yes, they were, and I don't quite understand it because Dillashaw's a great guy. I mean, I don't understand why to support your guy you have to disrespect the other.
I think it's just fun.
It just might be.
It might be, man.
I'm usually on the receiving end.
I know, but you gotta think about it sometimes. Like, why are they doing that? I don't even think it's personal. I bet if they met you, they'd be nice.
Yeah.
Oh! He's hurt!
Breaks down. Dillashaw trying to finish this fight.
That's it!
Wow! TJ Dillashaw has done it! Dillashaw, now a two-time UFC bantamweight champion. He wrests the belt away from Cody Garbrandt. And this rivalry may not be ending anytime soon. Cody goes over to shake hands, a brief embrace, but
wow.
TJ Dillashaw is the hunted again.
He is still stunned.
He's still hurt, but he goes over there and he shows respect as you would expect.
Wow.
Garbrandt immediately goes over to his wife and his mom and signals I'm okay, but TJ Dillashaw, who would have thought after the end of round one that he could finish Garbrandt in round two? There is a new king at 135 pounds, TJ Dillashaw.
Well, he caught him with that left high kick. He stunned him with that and dropped him. But man.
Hey, get this guy. Somebody needs to get this guy. One of the corners is yelling at Cody Garbrandt. Somebody needs to get this guy out of here. Have some class. Congratulations, TJ Dillashaw, but you have to be humble in winning and also in defeat.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is.
Not good by the corner, TJ Dillashaw. Don't ruin this kid's moment. Let's get to the replay, John.
It looked like he said he's my brother, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but let's get the replay. It's brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
You see TJ Dillashaw. Hey, coach said to give me kicks, and TJ Dillashaw listened. Hurt Cody Garbrandt with a left high kick there. Right there. Kicks Garbrandt. Garbrandt goes down. The toughness of Garbrandt allowed him to get back up to his feet and continue fighting. But this was just TJ Dillashaw mixing the attack. Then right here, another one of these exchanges. Boom! Big right hook by TJ Dillashaw. Drops Cody Garbrandt, and then he jumps on him for the finish. TJ Dillashaw, we've always said, everybody said, that he's as skilled as they come. And look, if these guys fight 10 times, the results may vary. But on this night, big right hook by Dillashaw, drops Garbrandt, jumps on him, gets the finish. Congratulations to TJ Dillashaw, two-time UFC bantamweight champion.
Absolutely incredible, and again, he felt like he never deserved to lose this belt. And Dillashaw celebrating in the face of Cody Garbrandt.
This rivalry's not over, John.
Well, and for Dillashaw too, right? He lost so many friends in this exchange, and you know, so
it wasn't just a guy leaving the gym. I mean, these were his friends, longtime friends.
All right, the official decision brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Here now, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Dan Murgliata has called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 41 seconds of round number 2, declaring the winner by knockout and new undisputed UFC bantamweight champion of the world, TJ Dillashaw.
I'm with the winner, and once again, bantamweight champion of the world, TJ Dillashaw. What did you say to Cody at the end of the fight?
I was just yelling. You know, when he got up, I was just yelling. I was just excited, and he stood up, and I was just yelling.
I mean, once you guys had settled that down and then embraced.
Congratulations, man. He's a hell of a fighter. He's young. He's going to be back. Like, I'm going to see him again, you know? This isn't the end of Cody Garbrandt.
Now, this was a phenomenal fight for you, and the win even sweeter because you overcame adversity in that first round. There was a wild exchange at the end of the first round, and you got clipped. How hurt were you?
The kid's fast, man. He hits hard, you know, and you can condition your chin. You know, the better shape you are and the better chin you have. You know, I got caught with the right hand. What he's got a big right hand, but, you know, I bounced right back. You know, I was still there the whole time.
Now, let's take a look at the high kick you landed in the second round, because that's what started it. You landed a left high kick and stunned him, and then in the follow-up exchange, you put him away. He got up, but you had to know he was hurt here.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, I was kicking the body, kicking inside leg, at least trying to. He's fast, he was getting out of the way. But I knew that head kick was eventually going to open up, get him to drop his hands. He holds his hands a little bit low anyway, so I was going to take advantage of it.
Now, after the extremely close loss to Dominick Cruz and then the excellent performances afterwards, how sweet is it to finally have that belt back around your waist?
I mean, it should have been. It's around my waist this whole time in my mind. I was fighting the #1 contenders. I should still be the champion. I am the champion. This is my belt. But Demetrius Johnson, I'm coming for you. I'm breaking you. You got that record that is fake. You know it. You should have been fighting me. You dodged me. I'm coming for you. I'm getting that belt. I'm coming to 25s, and I'm stopping your record.
Congratulations, sir. An outstanding performance. The new champion, ladies and gentlemen, TJ Dillashaw.
So TJ Dillashaw there with his family, his wife Rebecca due with their first child in about 2 months. What a moment for the Dillashaw clan here tonight. We have seen 2 belts change hands already tonight at UFC 217. That post-fight interview brought to you by Wish, the secret to affordable shopping.
Unbelievable performance by TJ Dillashaw. My goodness, man.
All right, well, coming up next from Madison Square Garden, it'll be our main event for the UFC Middleweight Championship as Michael Bisping goes for a second successful defense against the returning former welterweight king, Georges St Pierre. It is brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3, powered by Real Player Motion Tech. EA Sports UFC 3 delivers the most authentic UFC experience ever in a video game. Pre-order now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Well, you may want to make a note, circle the date, whatever it is you do. December 2nd, UFC 218, Holloway versus Edgar. Detroit's getting a good one.
I don't know what you had in mind, but here we stand on opposing sides. Let's go to war. Let's go to war!
11 straight wins for featherweight champion Max Holloway.
Frankie Edgar is arguably the most decorated guy in this division.
One of the all-time greats.
This man is scary.
Alistair's a beast. We're going to have an exciting war.
Let's go to war!
The UFC featherweight rankings here. Sponsored by EA Sports UFC 3, powered by Real Player Motion Tech. EA Sports UFC 3 delivers the most authentic UFC experience ever in a video game. Pre-order now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So Frankie Edgar's domination of Yair Rodriguez back in May positioned him for this DCA 9th UFC championship fight. And he'll have to be near perfect, you would think, against Max Holloway.
Yeah, they call him the little engine that could, because a lot of people don't believe that Frankie Edgar is as good as he is, but he dominates up-and-comers, and Max Holloway is an absolute stud. But look at this one. Ngannou versus Overeem, guaranteed fireworks. Finally, we get Cejudo versus Pettis, and Eddie Alvarez versus Justin Gaethje. If you're not excited about watching Justin Gaethje after his fight with Michael Johnson, you're not a fight fan, an MMA fan. You don't like violence. Justin Gaethje equals violence. I cannot wait for Detroit Motor City.
Gaethje's like 52-0 with 51 knockouts. We'll see how it goes against the former UFC lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez. So earlier tonight, when we thought we showed you the UFC 218 prelims, we were actually showing you what's going on in Norfolk, Virginia next weekend. So Alas, here are the UFC 218 prelims on FS1. Still strong to quite strong. Charles Oliveira stepping in for raging ally Quinta against Paul Felder. How about Alex Cowboy Oliveira after the finish of Ryan LaFleur, taking on the Hawaiian Yancy Medeiros, who has some momentum, and a good scrap at strawweight. Felice Harrigan, Courtney Casey, both of those fighters have some momentum.
And David Tamer, who's a phenomenal striker, taking on Jakar Close. Look, this is an outstanding matchups, and I love Oliveira versus Paul Felder. Oliveira's crafty, very good on the ground, very technical stand-up, and Paul Felder is a beast, and a guy who just keeps getting better and better. And he's been spending a tremendous amount of time training with Duke Rufus. I love watching the training footage. He looks outstanding. That's a great card.
And Felder will be on the call next Saturday night from Norfolk, Virginia on FS1. All right, main event coming up. First, though, this from the former UFC middleweight champion, Chris Weidman.
Before you watch the main event between Michael Bisping and Georges St Pierre, here's an exclusive look at the new Netflix film, Bright, starring Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. Watch it when it drops on December 22nd, only on Netflix.
We're just a couple of street cops doing our job.
What is it?
That is a magic wand.
It's like a nuclear weapon.
We gotta get out of this neighborhood.
What? My homies wanna cut your head off.
Yeah, I got that effect on people.
If only some magic struck and kill. We might be in a prophecy.
We're not in a prophecy. We're in a stolen Toyota Corolla.
Bright, only on Netflix.
Nighttime shot of the Brooklyn Bridge, built from 1869 to 1883, one of the oldest bridges in the United States, the first steel wire suspension bridge ever constructed, Joe Rogan, the more you know.
Now I know.
All right, now live from Madison Square Garden in New York City, it is time for the main event, brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. So a legend returns, and another legend charged with welcoming him back, Georges St Pierre, making his first start since 2013. And for middleweight champion Michael Bisping, a chance to cement himself as one of the best to ever do it.
There's champions, and there's the elite champion.
GSP, the greatest of all time at 170 pounds.
Can win the title one time, you know, but to keep it, it's very hard.
Georges St Pierre, defending the title for the 9th time.
I have a bunch of stuff in my life happening. I need to hang up my glove for a little bit.
After a long period of time, the pressure of being on top, it become very hard. That's why I need to step out to rejuvenate myself. I would not have been back for something small. I wanted to be back for the biggest thing possible. I'm fighting Bisping because I wanted to win multiple titles. I wanted to be one of the few guys that have done it in the sport. That would help solidify me as one of the greatest of all time.
This whole storyline and of him being amazing, stepping up a weight class after 4 years out of retirement. Wow, what a legend. So bull. George retired when he did because of Johny Hendricks beat the out of him.
He thinks I'm an easy matchup for him.
That's the reality of the situation.
George does not want to get hit in the head anymore. And the worst possible matchup for him is me.
I hold the record for the most significant strikes landed in history.
Michael's pouring the pressure! I've had more wins than anybody in the history of the organization.
Michael Bisping!
And 3 years he's been away, I've been fighting the best guys in the world.
Anderson goes down!
I defeated Anderson Silva.
Oh, he's rocked!
I defeated Dan Henderson.
Oh, he got rocked!
Of course, I knocked out Louis Rockhold on 2 weeks' notice.
That's it! Michael Bisping is the new UFC Middleweight Champion of the world!
And if George thinks he's going to come out of retirement and take my belt away from me, a guy coming from another weight class, you're out of your goddamn mind.
He's a much bigger guy than I am, but I believe I got better skills, better technique, better athleticism, and I believe I am a much better version than I was before.
This is the new Georges St Pierre, everybody. He's coming back a better version.
What the do you think this is? We've all evolved. We've all got better. That's the name of the game, George.
Hey, George, where's your belt? Where's your belt? You don't have one. The sport moves on, buddy.
If you want to be the best at something in the world, you can't be normal. You need to be obsessed. I'm still obsessed. I have one goal. The best out of me has not been shown yet.
George, we can all dream, but dreams don't always come true, George. He's gonna lose, and he's gonna lose viciously.
What a moment as Georges St Pierre makes his return tonight. Back in November of 2013, after a 9th straight successful title defense, he stepped away, never felt like he was stepping away for good, and now jonesing for more mixed martial arts success and glory. St Pierre returns, a man on a mission tonight.
I have so many questions. This is the fight, out of all the fights on the card, that I was the most perplexed about, because I really don't know what to think. I don't know what my opinion is.
The Prep One is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
I know what a phenomenal fighter George was when he was competing actively 3 years ago, but he's moving up a weight class. He's been out for so long, and why is he returning? I mean, is he returning because he didn't have anything else to do? Is he returning because the hunger is back? Is he returning because he realizes there's not much time left on his biological clock, and if he wants to compete, he's got to do it now? There's so many questions to be answered, and can he compete at middleweight against a guy who started his career as a light heavyweight?
Right.
You know, when I talked to Georges St Pierre on UFC Tonight on Wednesday, I said, George, what are you basing this I'm better off of? We haven't seen you. And he answered the question as you would expect him to on air. But afterwards, he looked me directly in the eyes and he said, Daniel, I am not pulling your leg. I am better today than I was when I last fought. He goes, believe me, and I will show you on Saturday. He truly believes in his heart of heart that he's better. He looks a lot bigger. He's filled out. He's thick. He looks like a middleweight. He doesn't look like Johny Hendricks at 185 earlier, right? No. He put the weight on the right way. He looks bigger. We got to see how he compares to Michael Bisping.
But here's the question. That weight is a lot of muscle. Michael Bisping is a cardio machine. Yes. Michael Bisping pushes one of the fastest paces in any division. He has a phenomenal work rate. Will George be able to hang in competition with this weight?
Well, without a collegiate wrestling background, Georges St Pierre became the best takedown artist in the history of mixed martial arts. 87 takedowns, #1 all time. We'll see how soon he shoots at the legs of Michael Bisping tonight.
Underrated champion in all of mixed martial arts. Right there. That man is as gritty and as tough and as game as any human that's ever walked the face of the planet Earth. That guy lives to fight. He's a beast. Greeting
his family there, including his son Callum. Here is Michael Bisping, the UFC Middleweight Champion, second title defense here tonight. On paper, this is the winningest fighter in UFC history, 28th UFC appearance, the only fighter with 20 wins inside the octagon. And you run out of time to set up everything he's accomplished, but that Anderson Silva rally, as inspiring a performance by a professional athlete as I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, how about his knockout victory against Luke Rockhold on short notice? Comes in and cracks him with a left hand, separates him from his consciousness. Who saw that coming other than the camp of Michael Bisping and that man Jason Perillo? Look, he's an animal, you know, and Michael Bisping lives with this. His mindset is one of his most important assets. It's the thing that makes him special. The fact that he's so damn tough. He's smart. He knows what he's good at. He knows his belief in himself is one of his most powerful weapons.
He's one of those guys that we are really going to miss when he's gone.
Yes.
You miss the wit. You miss the Bisping charm. You miss the fighter's mentality. He's a throwback.
Yes.
They say, Michael Bisping, we need a fight. Michael Bisping says, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
This weird
You want to fight for the world title?
Yes.
How many days do I have? 10.
You're going to fight a guy that beat you last time. You want to fight him again? Yes, I'm going to knock him out. He's developed power. For a long time,
Yes.
he said he couldn't punch. Now he's knocking guys out. He's dropping Anderson Silva. Knocked down Dan Henderson. If you believe that Michael Bisping has any doubt that he's going to dominate Georges St Pierre, you're out of your mind.
I think Michael Bisping thinks that this is his coming out party. That this is the opportunity for him to show the world how good he is. A perfect opportunity. A guy who takes him lightly, who comes up from the 170-pound division and really doesn't belong in the ring with him. That's what he thinks.
And he knew to beat GSP, he would have to really apply himself, take his training to the next level, knocking out sparring partners left and right for the first time really in training. Michael Bisping trying to stamp himself an all-time great here tonight. The Tale of the Tape is brought to you by Wish, the secret to affordable shopping. Bisping now 38. The returning Georges St Pierre is 36. Bisping, the taller man. Both fighters weighing in 184.5 pounds. Georges St Pierre on the right end of the reach equation, albeit slightly 1 inch longer than the Count Michael Bisping. Now to get you the introductions for this UFC Middleweight Championship fight, here is Bruce Bowen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Eric Cohen, Chris Lee, and Derek. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon, Big John McCarthy. This bout is sponsored by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast 4G LTE nationwide network. And head out to your neighborhood 7-Eleven and pick up your UFC branded Big Gulp for a chance to instantly win prizes. And now, for the thousands in attendance and UFC fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from Madison Square Garden Arena in New York, New York. It's time! 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC Middleweight Championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 25 wins, 2 losses. He stands 5 feet 10 and 1/2 inches tall, weighing in at 184.5 pounds. Fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, presenting the former 2-time UFC welterweight champion, the challenger, Georges St Pierre! And now introducing the champion, fighting out of the red corner, a Valley Judo fighter holding a professional record, 31 wins, 7 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 184.5 pounds. Fighting out of Manchester, England, presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed
obey my commands at all times. I want you to fight hard and fight clean. If you want to touch gloves, touch them again. Good luck to both of you.
Like a Bisping punch.
First significant strike for Bisping. Head out to your neighborhood 7-Eleven and get a UFC branded Big Gulp for a chance to instantly win prizes. Very few people sitting in this building. You can feel the buzz, the tension in this Madison Square Garden UFC Middleweight Championship fight underway. Bisping wearing the black and gold. Georges St Pierre in gray. We'll call it white. We'll see how early Georges St Pierre chooses to shoot. Most opponents have known what's coming from GSP and they can't stop it.
It's the striking as well you have to look out for, of course. He's got a beautiful left jab, outstanding takedown defense, very good submission ability, and that's something to consider. He's been spending a lot of time with the Danaher Death Squad, so look for leg locks and all kinds of crazy attacks from Georges that maybe we didn't see in his prior title reign.
I want to say something, but I feel like my heart's in my throat. It's beating so fast because this night's been so crazy, right? It's like I can't get words out. And I love to talk.
Right.
My goodness, watching these two in the octagon right now is just like Georges St Pierre is back. And he's fighting my man Mike.
Oh! And he caught him with the right hand over the top. And he looks smooth. Georges looks good. He looks relaxed. Big. He looks very big and relaxed.
Bisping has won 5 in a row, seemingly getting better with age in terms of his training.
Mike's got some redness over his eye already, man. That's that jab of Georges St Pierre, John.
These guys both have cut and swelled easily in the past in the UFC. 90+ seconds gone by here, round 1.
Georges looking for that right hand in a big way.
Fighting more aggressive than he normally does. And Bisping, I think it's the takedown threat that's making him actually back up a little bit. You know, Mike's normally a forward charging fighter. Mike's a guy that likes to push the pace and go forward. Right now he's having to set back a little bit more than he normally would because of the takedown ability of Georges St Pierre.
And one of the things that Mike said is that the reason why he feels, oh, beautiful jab by Georges. The reason why he feels that Georges wanted to fight him is because they trained together in 2006 and Georges got the better of him. He took him down at will, and Mike said he was a terrible wrestler back then, but he's much better now. The question is Georges much better now as he just lands a front leg ground kick? So far, Georges is very composed. His footwork looks excellent.
Now Mike's starting to come forward a little bit. This is going to be his best path to victory. He's going to have to give up a couple takedowns to be able to fight in the way that he's used to fighting.
GSP chance raining down here at MSG. Just over 2 minutes here to go, round 1.
If you ever question the star power of Georges St Pierre after 4 years away, don't anymore.
Oh, he clipped him with the right hand.
He's just as popular as he's ever been, and he's fighting phenomenal right now.
Oh, beautiful jab. And Bisping fires back with the right hand.
So St Pierre content to exchange on the feet, and he's been successful thus far. Right hand lands over the top for St Pierre.
His timing looks very good.
Yep.
I mean, especially considering how long he's been out of the octagon.
Seems fast. The jab's fast, the movement's fast, and because of the size, the new weight that he's put on, he has the ability to actually pressure the bigger guy, Michael Bisping.
We were told St Pierre really started to put it together over the last final weeks.
The question is, how does he carry all this extra muscle into the championship rounds if it goes that long?
Bisping has gone the 25-minute championship distance 4 times.
Look at that finish there by Georges St Pierre. High crotch shot, knee picked the back ankle by reaching all the way across. What a fantastic finish to a high crotch by Georges St Pierre. High crotch with the right side, takes his left arm, runs it through the middle to knee pick Michael Bisping. The right back up by Michael Bisping. And that's what he's known for. Bisping is very difficult to hold down.
Bisping able to use the fence to his advantage to get right back up.
This confirmed what Michael Bisping was hesitant about.
That got Bisping's attention. Now a spinning attack. Final seconds of round one.
And you can have all the success in the world against Michael Bisping early. He does build as the fights go on. But great first round for Georges St Pierre.
I'll tell you what, he might not have been lying. He might be better. He might be better.
Thought. It's such a scary thought.
Take a little water.
Superman jab. How often do you see that? And just barely miss with that wheel kick. Look at that. Boom. Catches him on the chin, off balance.
Michael Bisping's tough to take that spinning back kick like that.
Stay behind those shoulders and stay on the right side, all right? If we can pick him up the middle, pick him up, all right? Quick hands in there, all right? Don't try to load up so much. How about you keep moving the right? We go to left, go wide. You did wonderful against the fence on that takedown.
He's slow. He's powerful, but he's slow. You understand?
Keep his feet moving, chap. Keep his feet moving. Let's go. Keep his feet moving. The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyrighted work is illegal and punishable under law. Here we go, round two. Michael Bisping, Georges St Pierre. We also point out Freddie Roach cornering a UFC fighter for the first time here tonight. He was omnipresent in Montreal, and that is a huge source of confidence for the returning Georges St Pierre.
George with a side kick. Mixing up his kicks.
I feel like Bisping's gonna have to take this into the octagon some. He has to get back to fighting in the style with the pressure that Michael Bisping is so well known for.
Yeah, he's more activity. Got to do something different.
He's got to be more active with his hands, more pace and pressure, and really make Georges St Pierre carry this extra weight that he's brought into the octagon tonight.
I think it's what you said. I think it's the threat of the takedown. It's making him hesitate.
12 UFC title fight wins for Georges St Pierre. Last finish, though, against BJ Penn, UFC 94, all the way back in 09.
George is so good with that jab. So good at catching him in those little brief openings when Michael's trying to close the distance.
Bisping a little bit confounded by St Pierre on the feet here early.
Back leg, which is very unusual. Stepping in and throwing a side kick to the body. Oh, he clipped him on the chin.
Bisping caught that kick and landed a left hook.
George is really threatening with that. Look at that beautiful combination with the right leg kick, but he's really threatening with that front leg round kick to the face. Michael's got to be careful about that, because it comes without a switch. He's doing it Kyokushin karate style, where he just lifts up the leg and throws it.
Now he's throwing that jab to the body, hoping to get Mike's hands down some. Oh, right hand by Bisping.
Might have been his most significant strike of the fight.
And he caught George as he was trying that inside leg kick.
Now here comes Bisping. This is the pressure he needs to have.
Bisping just out of range with that uppercut. Carrillo didn't want him loading up. That's what he's doing largely, though, here in round two.
Now, as we're moving into the second round, the question becomes, are we seeing Georges St Pierre slow down?
He's breathing pretty heavy.
Because Michael Bisping can go for days. You fight this guy, you better pack a lunch.
GSP's got a pretty good lather going.
2 minutes left in the round. There's the jab, double it up.
Georges St Pierre finishes are something to behold, man. And now he's got Mike down in the center of the octagon, away from the fence, that Bisping uses so much to get back to his feet. Unbelievable timing, and then a great finish on a takedown by Georges St Pierre. In a very close round. Big takedown.
Bisping brought in a lot of collegiate wrestlers to help him during this training camp. He said a bunch of animals, but that's big.
It is big. And George just took a big deep breath as well. Oh, right hand over the top by Bisping.
Here comes Bisping. He's picking it up now a little bit. Look at him. He's gaining some confidence, some swagger. Going forward now into Georges St Pierre.
And this could very well be where the activity and the cardio of Bisping pays off. Left hand over the top.
Big deep breath from Georges St Pierre as Bisping continues to find his range. Less than a minute now to go in round 2. The significant strike picture, slight advantage for St Pierre. But you're right, Joe, visibly slowing down.
Visibly, and we're only in round 2. This could be terrible for him if he can't rebound. If he doesn't get a second win.
Because as you said, Bisping does not tire.
He does not.
Bisping will fight at this pace for 25 minutes, if not harder, as the fight goes longer.
And he's sensing that George is slowing. And look at that. Right hand and a left high kick right behind it. Good kick to the body, but a good right hand return by Bisping. Bisping most certainly got momentum on his side now.
Things have shifted here.
We got a problem here. His cup fell out. It's broken. Michael Bisping's cup is broken.
They have to pull the string up and tape it in the back.
Water's coming, okay? Water's coming. George, look at me. When you need to make space, go southpaw. When you need to make space, because you're circling towards the right. His best shot, the only shot he has is the right hand. Water's coming, okay? Freddie, water. The only shot he's got is that right hand. Freddie.
Right, don't. Good with that, Mike?
Don't forget the head kick.
It's all right. We'll try it. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try it now. If we can't, we'll
we'll see what we'll see how it goes. Don't forget that head kick. Man. You see it there, right? That left head kick's there too. Hey, keep putting together, do what you're doing that last round. Keep doing what you're just doing that last round, bud. All right? Snapping those shots. Snapping. No push and stay focused.
So GSP needs a mouthpiece. Bisping could use a new cup just when you think you've seen it all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how he's got that cup set in there. Is it just sitting in his underwear?
It's just sitting in his underwear.
That's not good. That is terrible. This could be a huge factor, folks. Especially if he gets kicked there.
Third round of a possible 5 here. Michael Bisping, the champ in black and gold. Georges St Pierre in white.
Back on that high crotch.
Again, he gets the takedown.
Bisping doing a great job of actually getting his feet on the hips right away. Nope, he can't settle here.
Good elbows on the bottom from Bisping.
But he still can't settle on the bottom. It allows St Pierre to not only control him, but to rest a little bit.
Right.
He's fighting in the positions that he's very comfortable.
Well, he had to be expectant that the early shot from St Pierre would be coming in round 3, unable to stop it.
Bisping is trying to set up an arm. He's trying to hold on to the right arm of Georges St Pierre.
He's cut. St Pierre's cut. Bad.
Those elbows from the bottom could be nasty.
Bisping
and he's
right
slicing
back to it,
He's slicing across the face with those.
Bisping choosing to stay offensive off of his back as opposed to trying to get up, at least for now.
Bisping has a really underrated defensive guard, and you're seeing that here. When George elevates, he puts his feet on the hips. When George is down, he locks him up in closed guard and hits him with elbows. George is not getting anything off. This has been worse for him on top than it has been for Bisping on the bottom.
Bisping is doing a good job of getting damage off.
Yeah,
but there he just took a pretty good elbow from St Pierre. But you can't be getting control, right? You cannot be on your back with the guy even landing strikes at all.
Right, but he does this trick where he throws a shot and then tries to step over the leg. He's gotten it off in the past on other fighters, but he's not getting it off on Bisping.
Bisping just slid him open really bad there.
Yeah.
Posted off his forehead and then elbowed him. He just cut him real bad.
Yep, there's one on the nose and now a bigger one on the forehead.
Yeah, this has been way worse for Georges St Pierre on top than it has been for Bisping on the bottom.
Now Bisping back to his feet. And he's cut open. Yep.
And Bisping fresh as a daisy. Bouncing around as we approach the midpoint of round 3.
Cuts her to her elbow.
For Bisping.
George's having a real hard time seeing. He keeps wiping his eyes. The blood is flowing into his eyes.
Overhand right by St. Pierre lands there.
Nice right hand for GSP. But more often than not, at least over the last 10 minutes, he's been one and done.
You got 2 minutes into the round, and the elbows of Bisping have split St. Pierre open. Great combination by St. Pierre there.
And I'm wondering if Bisping can kick. There he goes. But with that cup like barely hanging in his underwear, I mean, he's moving all over the place.
St. Pierre's really trying to time that right hand coming over the top of the Bisping jab. But he's loading up so bad that he's missing, and he's missing awkwardly.
90 seconds now to go in the round. Oh! GSP drops Bisping! Oh, big elbows from St. Pierre!
He hurt him bad. But Bisping's still defending himself. Bisping's defending.
St. Pierre going all out for the finish here.
George is going to empty the tank. He understands that he could be gassed a little. He's on the back.
Give up the back.
It's over. It's over, Joe. It's over, Joe. It's over, Joe. It's over.
Georges St Pierre has done it. He is the new UFC Middleweight Champion. Wow!
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Choked him unconscious. Bisping is still out.
What a fight, what a night, and Georges St Pierre is a 2-division UFC champion, not without some adversity here tonight. GSP is back and in a lot of ways seemingly better than ever.
Michael's just starting to come to now. Unbelievable.
Bisping not the tapping type. Georges Rush St Pierre, folks. Absolutely remarkable. 4 years out of the game, and he comes back, moves up a division, and wins a belt in a second division. This fight replay brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
He really might be better.
The thought is scary.
That's crazy. Let's see it. Let's take a look at it again here. This is where he got cut. He got sliced with an elbow from the bottom. All sorts of adversity because of all that blood flowing into his eyes. And here's the punch. Bam! Perfectly placed left hook. Bisping's in all sorts of trouble, and George swarms on him. Let's see the finish. Let's see the rear naked choke.
Well, Mike was so hurt that he was defending. Then George gave him a little bit of space, which gave Michael the illusion that he can get to his knees and get up. St. Pierre jumps on the back right away in the Texas rear choke. One punch, right arm slides underneath.
Through. I mean, that is perfect.
Michael Bisping won't tap, but GSP puts him to sleep. There's no defense here. His left hand is behind his head.
Yeah.
There's no defense. You are supposed to attack the top hand. The top hand's hidden. That's the rear choke that you learn in jiu-jitsu when you just let your partner get it on you. There's no escape from that. And Georges St Pierre, wow, what a performance. I don't know what else to say.
Georges St Pierre chokes Michael Bisping unconscious, his first finish since UFC 94, nearly a decade ago. And of course, one of the more interested observers, the UFC's interim middleweight champion, Robert Whittaker. And perhaps he's thinking, just maybe, might I get GSP in Perth? Just maybe. Well, Georges St Pierre, the UFC middleweight champion of the world. The official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Nice embrace between the athletes there. Bruce Buffer now with that official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Big John McCarthy has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 23 seconds of round number 3, declaring the winner by submission due to a rear naked choke, and new undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Georges St Pierre.
You're the best guy out for me, man.
I'm going to talk to both of you gentlemen, but first, George, first of all, congratulations. This is a crazy event. Leading up to this, it was so insane for you to be out for so many years and then challenge the middleweight champion, moving up a weight class. What was this all like for you?
Man, I don't have a word in my mouth right now. It's my dream come true, guys. Thank you for the support. Everybody here that came to support me and Michael. It's a great sport. Thank you. We'll make a living because of you guys. Thank you so much. My dream come true.
George, there was so many years out, but you came in and you looked very smooth and very relaxed. Was there anything that felt surprising to you?
Well, he hurt me very hard. You know, a few times I got stunned. I tried to hide it, but oh, man, I wouldn't like to do that fight again. Oh, fuck. So, sorry to, I don't want to swear on TV. I'm sorry for that.
George, it feels surreal to see you back in here again and surreal to see you once again as a UFC champion, but now the middleweight champion, a 2-division champion. Are you going to maintain 185 pounds? Are you going to stay at 185 or are you going to continue fighting at welterweight?
Well, this is not really my real weight. You know, I did it for the challenge, and it was a time in my career I was too busy. The challenger were one after the other, and I was too small to go up. I was even small for welterweight. Now I'm still welterweight size, but I decided to take a shot because I put on some muscle mass. There's a point that it's too much, but now now I'm at the point that is okay, you know.
Let's take a look at the big screen, George, and I want you to enjoy your handiwork.
Please, because I don't even remember it.
You caught him with a left hand. Let's take a look at it here. A perfect left hook here. And this is where you hurt him. That's what he dropped. What was going through your mind? Do you remember?
Yeah, I knew. I mean, I don't want to give away for Michael, but I studied a lot of Michael's tape. I knew he had problem with the shot coming to his right. So our plan was to fake him on his left side to attract his attention and strike him on the right. That's what we did most of the fight.
And then you swarmed him on the ground and you were trying to stop him with strikes, but then you gave him some space and you tried to get back up. You sunk the rear naked choke.
Yeah, it was a trick, you know. I kind of sometimes put trap. I have more experience. MMA sometimes if you before a few years ago I was always trying to force things, and I think the best way in fighting is to set up some trap. So when your opponent step in, it's easier to get him. Sorry for the analogy, but that's how it is, you know.
Well, George, you said that you had improved when you came back. Yeah. You showed it tonight.
Thank you. It's not about martial art. It's not about who got the biggest balls, so to speak. Sorry for my language. It's about technique, setting trap, and intelligence. And I was fighting a bigger man, and I was trying to prove it tonight to all my fans.
You were the greatest welterweight of all time. It's beautiful to see you back again. Congratulations on winning the UFC Middleweight Title.
Michael is, man, he's the toughest guy I've fought. This man is amazing. I'm a fighter, but I've been a fan of this man. He's a true example of hard work and perseverance in the sport. So Michael, man, all my respect to you, man.
Georges St Pierre, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Michael Bisping. Michael, your thoughts on the fight?
Well, you got to give it up for George, guys. You know, congratulations. He was the better man tonight. New York, you know, I came out here, I fight my ass off. I say a few things, just trying to be entertaining, trying to make you, oh, fuck it, I'm trying to get through my day, doing my thing. But listen, George was the better man. Hell of a fucking squeeze he's got there, man. So, you know, give it up for George. Not a lot else to say. For everyone that supported me throughout my career, thank you so much. My wife and children, they're sat over there. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here right now. These guys behind me, Perillo, Brady, Raphael, Scott Prohaska, Dean Amasinga, everyone, the UFC, thank you all. You know, I'm not done. I know I spoke about retirement, but George was a better man tonight. You know, simple as that. No excuses. He beat me, he fucking choked me out. Congratulations, George.
You're one of the toughest guys in the game. There's no doubt whatsoever you will be back. Thank you very much, sir, for an excellent fight. Michael Bisping, ladies and gentlemen.
Both fighters just dripping with class at the end of an epic championship encounter tonight. Those post-fight interviews brought to you by Wish, the secret to affordable shopping. Daniel Cormier, your thoughts on what just transpired here?
Yeah, man, unbelievable performance by Georges St Pierre to go up in weight class and become a 2-division champion. And if anybody's going to join that elite company, you would imagine it would be Georges St Pierre. Unbelievable performance. Great heart shown by Michael Bisping, but what a performance by GSP. He is now a 2-division champ. Greatest fighter of all time, maybe. What he's done has been unbelievable. Congratulations, Team St. Pierre.
All right, well, I mean, are you kidding me? What a night for the MMA leader in NYC.
Crazy. I mean, I'm stunned by all 3 title fights. All 3 title fights are stunning. Namajunas winning by knockout. TJ winning by knockout. Georges St Pierre putting Michael Bisping to sleep.
3 new UFC champions all get stoppage wins here tonight. Crazy, crazy night here at Madison Square Garden. UFC 217, Bisping versus GSP has been brought to you by Wish, the secret to affordable shopping. Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. And by The Walking Dead, new episodes every Sunday at 9/8 Central, only on AMC.
Let's do the damn thing! Max Holloway is a destroyer. He can finish you with submissions, he can finish you with strikes. One of the best in the world.
The future Hall of Famer, former lightweight champion Frankie Edgar.
The greatest striker in the history of the UFC. Alistair Overeem, vicious knockout power.
Francis Ngannou. Make myself a king. Back live Octagon side here at Madison Square Garden. John Anik, Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier. Just a wild night, DC. Everything okay, my man?
My mind is exactly where his face is.
Dude, I mean, I don't know, and I couldn't have experienced it with 2 better guys.
Yeah,
I love my guys, but my goodness, did they take us on the ride?
I'm telling you, if anyone can put into context what Georges St Pierre accomplished tonight, it's you guys, right? But it is hard to quantify what he was able to do after 4 years on the show.
Well, I mean, he must have had an inkling that Michael Bisping could have only gotten so much better. The way he trained with him in 2006 was one of the reasons why he was motivated to fight him as a middleweight champion. I don't think that he would have fought Chris Weidman or Luke Rockhold. I might be wrong, but I think those guys are too big for him. And I think he felt like this was a good fight for him, technically, skill-wise, and with the experience that he had in him in training, it gave him the confidence to come back.
And you called it, Joe. He set the trap to set up the finish, and didn't he do a great job sort of ducking Rogan's question, too, in terms of his future? I mean, he hinted that this is not necessarily his long-term home. Here are the middleweight rankings. Of course, GSP, the new champion. Robert Whittaker, the interim champion, dealing with a knee injury. But what do we think, DC, happens from here?
Man, he's a politician. He avoided that question. He's like, I don't know. But if he stays at 185, the path is clear. Robert Whittaker has looked phenomenal in this run to the interim championship. And again, another guy who is a little bit smaller that Georges St Pierre can fight. A guy that was up at 170, came up to 185, and has had tremendous success. But if you didn't know if Robert Whittaker was the real deal, watch him beat Yoel Romero. Watch what he did to Jacare Souza.
Look what he did to Derek Brunson.
Who is the boogeyman at middleweight. This guy's he's the man. Robert Whittaker's the man, and the fight between him and Georges St Pierre, to me, would be phenomenal.
Robert Whittaker is a handful. That's a terrifying man. That's a different animal. And Tyron Woodley is a different animal too. Tyron Woodley at 170 pounds is a knockout artist. And the kind of power that he possesses is different than I think anybody that Georges St Pierre has ever fought. I don't think he's ever fought anybody that's a wrestler like Tyron is, that has that kind of one punch, go to sleep power. And that's the fight that Tyron wants. I mean, he really wants that fight badly.
Well, Georges St Pierre was very much non-committal in terms of his fighting future, but prevailing wisdom, there's got to be a belt on the line, right? Either at 70 or 85.
But isn't it great to be Georges St Pierre? You've got two divisions to choose from right now. You can stay at your weight class and go fight Robert Whittaker, unify the belts, or you can go down and fight for the title immediately at 170.
But
man,
he's got a future filled with killers. I mean, everybody, look at him walking around the octagon now.
He loves it. He's taking it. He's been gone for 4 years. He's been gone for 4 years. Came back,
clapping.
Got a belt. Hey, night started off bad for Faraz, but it ends with the ultimate achievement, Georges St Pierre.
Amazing.
Right. Well, a lot more to get to, guys, tonight as we saw 3 belts change hands, co-main event UFC Bantamweight Championship, and had there been 30 more seconds in that first round, maybe the narrative is different, but TJ Dillashaw composed himself, rallied, and he starched Cody Garbrandt there in round 2.
He certainly did. I mean, how impressive. Came back with a vengeance, landed that left high kick, stunned him, and then put him away. I mean, for TJ Dillashaw, sweet, sweet revenge.
Oh, it's sweet revenge for TJ Dillashaw. It couldn't have gone any better. But early, Cody Garbrandt hurt TJ Dillashaw really bad. And like you said, 10, 20 more seconds in this round, TJ was done. He stumbled back to his corner. But as his coach said, TJ, give me kicks. Give me kicks. It'll open everything up in this massive right hook. Puts Cody Garbrandt down. Man,
look at his eyes.
His eyes rolled back in his head. Look, people want to fight. TJ Dillashaw says he never lost his belt. So he feels like he just got back with his. You know, the first text I got, Dominic Cruz going, I got 3 rounds of fight to try to get back here. And also, ring rust against Jimmy Rivera. And then he also said, after GSP, ring rust ain't real. Because Dominic Cruz knows all, right?
Dominic Cruz loves to say that. You know, when he came back, whether or not he had ring rust or not, I think he looked better in his second fight than he did in his first fight back. You know,
in GSP, 4 years and looked great.
Look, he never stopped training. I mean, I think that's the big thing. GSP never got fat, never got out of shape, constantly training, did a lot of weird stuff, did a lot of gymnastics, did a lot of jiu-jitsu, did a lot of boxing. You know, he really worked a lot on his kicks. I mean, he got the chance to progress as a martial artist without the pressure of training camps. It's very hard. You can speak to this. It must be very hard to learn new skills when really you're just trying to get in shape.
Get in shape and get better. Get ready to fight. Everything's specific during training camp. When you have that time away is when you get better.
So you mentioned Dominic Cruz and Jimmy Rivera have a date before the year is out, but TJ Dillashaw wants Demetrius Johnson, right? So we'll see how this whole thing shakes out. And that brings us to one Thug Rose Namajunas. Didn't smile much during fight week. All smiles here tonight. She becomes the first to beat Joanna Jedrejczyk in mixed martial arts and knocked her out to boot.
That little lady could be a star. I'm going to tell you something. To win that way against a killer like Joanna Jedrejczyk and to put her on her ass like that with that left hook, smash her, and then get her to tap the strikes. Look at the right hand here. Boom! Boom! She's tapping. I mean, just to get someone like Joanna Jedrejczyk to tap the strike, and then in her post-fight speech says, just be a good person. I mean, incredible. Joanna is obviously incredibly emotional now. You see her in her locker room crying, and of course, I mean, being the champion meant so much to her. But
the beauty of our game, right?
Yeah.
The agony of defeat, the thrill of victory, man. I mean, you see Rose and Pat, it's elation in that locker room. But then you walk 100 yards down the corridor, and you see Joanna Jedrejczyk heartbroken. It's the beauty of our game.
And congratulations to Trevor Whitman, too, because
no
he
doubt.
took that girl and turned her into a lethal striker.
And at 25 years old, which is absolutely incredible. So here is the new strawweight picture. Believe it, Rose Namajunas now the hunted at 115 pounds. I'm no matchmaker. I did suggest her in the pay-per-view that maybe they would do an immediate rematch. And you got to think, Joe, if any champion has earned that opportunity, isn't it, Joanna?
I mean, there's a lot of talent in this division. I think you absolutely could make the argument that a rematch would be interesting. You could also make the argument that Jessica Andrade versus Rose Namajunas would be a fantastic fight. Woo, what a night.
You put goodwill in the bank and hope that on these rainy days, it comes knocking at your door to pay you back. I believe Joanna Jedrejczyk has done that, and I think we'll see a rematch as Ronda got an immediate rematch after going away for a while. I think we see Namajunas, Jedrejczyk now. Notice how I switched the names, too.
But Ronda didn't get a rematch against Holly.
But if Holly was still, the belt was just playing hot potato.
Yeah,
she left.
Yeah.
If Ronda would have came right back, I believe she still would have fought Holly again.
Well, congratulations to the new UFC champions, three of them, Georges St Pierre, TJ Dillashaw, and Thug Rose.
What happened? Crazy. What a night. Woo, what a job we have, boys.
I'm telling you.
How lucky are we?
Man.
I'll take it.
Shivers.
Oh, man. Here's what's coming up inside the Octagon. Next Saturday, we'll be in Norfolk, Virginia with a lightweight showdown. Perennial contender Dustin Poirier battles former champion Anthony Showtime Pettis. The main card begins at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1. Then the following week, November 18th in the States, the 19th in Australia, former heavyweight champion Fabricio Verdun battles rising contender Marcin Tybura. The FS1 UFC Fight Night action gets going at 10 in the East, 7 in the West. And November ends with a UFC Fight Pass showdown as the legend Anderson Silva ushers the Octagon into mainland China for the first time against Kelvin Gastelum. We are live and exclusive from Shanghai on UFC Fight Pass, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific to close out the month. You can watch the UFC 217 post-fight press conference at UFC.com. The UFC 217 post-fight show with Karen Bryant, Kenny Florian, Tyron Woodley, Chris Weidman, and Megan O'Leary is already underway on FS1. For those of you watching in Canada, you can flip it over to TSN as soon as we're done. A most fitting host city for UFC 217 tonight. The executive producers of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC President Dana White, Ari Emanuel, and Patrick Weitzel. Our Executive VP of Operations and Production is Craig Borsari. Our coordinating producer, Zach Candido. Tonight's show has been produced by Bruce Connell and directed by Anthony Pasquale Giordano. Thug Rose Namajunas, a champion in the UFC at a ripe 25 years old, brought to tears after getting Joanna Jedrejczyk out of there early tonight. You can be sure Joanna champion will come back strong. TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt, this one had all the makings, and it lived up to the hype as it played out. Garbrandt was taunting early, but in the end, he was cross-eyed courtesy of that TJ Dillashaw right hook. Dillashaw once again the hunted at 135 pounds. Uriah Faber officially not happy. And that set the stage for Michael Bisping and Georges St Pierre. In the end, it is GSP by submission. He chokes Bisping unconscious to become the 4th two-division champion in UFC history. With that, for Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier, and our entire production team, John Anik saying so long from Madison Square Gardens. We'll see you next month in Detroit for UFC 218. Good night.